speak as if you were speaking to the Lord.
Hey, loser, it's me. Hell dude 88.
Your worst idea ever.
Yeah, you were like, whoa, this dude's too extreme, but maybe he'll be my friend. Well, you know what? Not your friend, buddy.
Sorry, God.
Yeah, sorry, G-Dog. I'm friends with Satan. That's what we call him downstairs in the basement, bro. Where we drink warm beer and we leave the lights on even when we leave the room. Isn't that bold?
I'm annoyed we're not getting any of this.
I'm recording all of this.
Okay, welcome to the... Okay.
Fuck me.
It's upside down, Niamh. Oh my god, copy what we're doing.
What the fuck is that?
I'm leaving all of this in. Oh my god, this is so good. Niamh has to put on the pop card on her mic stand, and she's done a real fucking...
Yeah, what a fucking
Many
mess,
hames
Niamh.
of it. Look, no, it's because it's sticking out too far this way. It's
Niamh,
just...
I think at this point you just have to hold the pop guard in front of the mic for the entire podcast.
She's done a real goober magoo.
Yeah.
A goober madoo. A real flim flam of a jib jab. And
Look, I got it. We're making it work.
It's all hornswoggled. It's all kayfabed. You got to break that kayfabe.
That makes sense. Yep.
Yeah.
That's perfect context.
Yeah. It is just not a triumph.
Guys, I have a problem.
Manny.
Yeah. Which one's
Yeah,
today's
which one?
problem?
Well, no, there's one that's just been kind of gradually growing.
Us two on the podcast?
No,
that's not a problem. That's
no,
amazing.
you're a consistent problem that's
We're a
just always
blessing.
existed constantly and probably always will.
We are a demonic blessing in your weird holy life.
What weird holy life?
You know.
My name is John. I get birthday presents in November, but I don't open them until late December at Christmas because I am into that.
You know, Bryan, sometimes we have conversations off the podcast, and really, that's where they should remain.
Is that
like
one of these podcasts?
I like the idea of you like sitting down, stripping naked, going on your knees,
fucking
attaching
God,
like your
Niamh.
Christmas presents to a flail and just whacking your back with it.
Oh. So what's your problem, John?
Penitent one.
Okay. So I've been having this problem in my like local cafe where like some of the
Another fucking cafe problem.
yeah, I know.
This is your 5th cafe problem. Is this the same cafe?
Yeah, it is.
You need to go to a different...
Because it's near me and I like to draw and there's places that are isolated from the other fucking patrons of the cafe so they can't see me draw weird fucking shit that I like to draw that just helps me relax and it's not that weird and I have a very stressful job and sometimes I just need to go fucking draw or Mika lifting weights, alright? Is that what you fucking want to hear?
Yeah.
Okay. So I go to this cafe and I have a like routine there. There's a particular place I like to sit and a particular order I like to order. If my place is taken, I'm very upset. I've left before because that's not what I like.
Have you a second favorite spot?
I have 2 spots that I deem okay.
Okay.
And anything less than them is fucking garbage. But because of this, I think I mentioned this before, the girls at this cafe kind of, they think it's funny that I always order the exact same thing. And it's not really, because that has to be pretty common in cafes, right?
Yeah, but...
You have your order.
Yeah, but like, this is you.
They don't know me.
I
Yeah,
think
they do.
sometimes you like someone will mix it up, you know. But
Yeah.
you're just always consistent.
Yeah, they've got seasonal drinks, especially this time
Yeah.
of year. Do they not have like the pumpkin-y things?
Yeah, and I did order a pumpkin thing recently. But then when I go back to ordering what I always order, big fucking hoo-ha again.
That's because they like you.
They don't know me.
Yeah, but you're a customer there, and working retail can be mind-numbing.
I do always try and be very nice to them.
Yeah,
Because
no.
sometimes they... Because I think if you're working a service industry, it's like there's at least one person a day who's going to be kind of an asshole to you. And they shouldn't. Because, you know, service industries, it's tough work. Retail's tough work.
It's incredibly difficult.
Yeah, it's physically difficult and it's emotionally devastating. So, yeah.
Okay, so what are they doing wrong?
They're not doing anything wrong, but they are getting overly familiar, you know? As in, just the drink stuff. I don't need to know that someone knows that. Okay. But I'm in there the other day and I'm just finishing up. And just as I'm leaving, this guy comes up to me and he's like, "Are you Super Eye Patch Wolf?" And I'm like, "Yes, I am." And he's a lovely man. And he introduced me to his girlfriend, who's also lovely. We have a very pleasant exchange. We take a photo and then I'm getting out of there. But just as I'm getting out, I glance over at these girls and there's two of them just standing there just staring at me. But they have this look like, what the fuck? And I'm like, oh no. And so I leave and I'm like, oh, I don't know about this. And I go back, like, I kind of leave it a while. I go back the next week. And it's the same girl there at the counter. And I think they're all like Eastern European or something. And she's just kind of looking at me and she's kind of like, "What do you do?" And I'm like, "Nothing. I don't do anything."
You said nothing.
Yeah.
Oh, then that makes it worse because she probably thought you were like kind of famous, but now she thinks you're like really, really famous, and you're only kind of
I'm
famous.
fake famous.
Yeah, you're not famous.
But you're also adding to the mystique. When she tells her friend...
When you dodge a question like that, it usually just snuffs out all curiosity.
So this is a problem.
Yeah, this is a problem because I don't... Do you remember the last time we talked about this and I was like, I don't want them knowing things about me. I don't want anyone knowing things about me.
Say you're a mortician and you buried his father.
That's good.
Yeah.
That'll just end all questions.
Like, people want to take a photo with a mortician all the time.
Yeah,
like
no, that's pretty...
You don't know what grieving people do.
Yeah.
And you can't question it.
Yeah, you just have to be supportive and be a nice guy.
Okay, now you see, these are why I bring problems to the podcast, when I get some fucking answers instead of just the usual tirade of abuse.
Have they asked you since?
No.
So they asked you once and you said nothing.
They'll be like, I'm doing like a kind of squinty eye look, you know, and I don't like it.
I think you should start bringing props.
Really?
Well, okay, if you're going with the mortician thing, you could start just bringing candles maybe and just light one in front of you while you're working. You could just rosary beads.
Yeah, come in one day and you just have like white face paint, like you're super pale.
In like a nun's garb.
A nun's garb, yeah.
That'd be pretty good.
Just, I don't know, if you think they're watching you, give them a show.
Interesting.
Yeah, super mortician wolf.
I bet there's some shit. Sorry, wait, let me do it.
Fucked that up.
Let me do it. I bet there's some stiff competition in that YouTube area.
Stop talking.
Stiff, because they're dead.
Niamh, everybody.
Hello.
Welcome. God, Niamh, Jesus. I'm going to cut this out because it's going to sound bad, but would you mind shutting the fuck up for one goddamn second? Like, Niamh, I'm so serious. I get so fucking mad at you on this podcast, and you're fucking up the entire thing. And Bryan, keep doing what you're doing, buddy.
Thanks.
Welcome.
Thanks, John. I really appreciate that.
Welcome.
Thanks, John.
So let's fight
Thanks, John,
podcast.
so much.
Bryan, you can't interrupt the world's strongest. That's our fucking signature bit.
Okay, well then do it.
The world's
strongest
video game podcast. I am sitting here.
That was so cool.
Oh, with two of the holiest blessed ones in the entire earth. To my left, feet of salt, hands of gold. It's Bryan.
Hi, it's me.
To my right, never will you meet a relic more sacred, a being more divine. It's Niamh.
Hi.
You can see her on the side of a road, like all spiritual deities in Ireland.
It's true.
That's so specific.
I know, but you know the way you're like driving around Ballygo backwards and you're like, oh, there she is. Like just a statue of herself.
Did you guys ever hear that old Irish story of like the statue of Mary that would like move?
The one in Clontarf that was found in the tree and was bleeding?
This might be a different one.
They're always bleeding.
Yeah. What's up with that?
It's just sap.
No, this was a statue of Mary that people would come watch, and apparently the statue would move. And I went to see it once.
Yeah. Did it move?
it moved like fucking crazy. It was so weird because it was doing like the Mary pose, you know, like with like the hands like that. And like I watched it as it like tilted its head over to the side and like down and then like back up like that. And I was like, what? I was like a kid and I was like, what the fuck is happening? And then like I was going home and we're in the car with my dad and I was like, that was really weird. I can't believe it moved. And he was like, what are you talking about? And I was like, it moved. And he was like, John, it didn't move. These people, they just don't have anything else to do. And I was like, I saw it move. But like, now looking back, I can totally believe that I was a very imaginative child under some kind of mass hysteria, hypnosis stuff.
You were daydreaming.
Yeah,
There's a
probably.
gas leak all around those places.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's the bloody eye one? Is that not just Bloody Mary?
No, this is one that was hidden in a tree when there was a storm on the church at Clontarf, but was forgotten in a tree, and then a man went to cut down the tree, and the tree started bleeding, but then he realized there was a statue of Mary hidden up in its branches, and it was bleeding because he had cut off one of her hands. So they took it and put it back in the church, and she's missing a hand, and it's all bloody.
That's fucking gnarly.
Yeah.
Do you ever hear about that woman in like 17th century France who could tell the future, or who received prophecies through chicken eggs?
What?
Oh, was this the woman who was putting eggs up a chicken?
Yep.
Yep.
That's one way to do it.
Yeah, the poor chicken though.
Yeah, that wasn't pleasant.
And who are you?
Oh, with you always, I am your host, the penitent one, Joel.
What the fuck was that?
What are you talking about? I just said my name, John.
It sounded like you swallowed your tongue.
That's not true. That's not
Jom.
That's not even kind of true.
I can't wait for people to type that one out.
Yeah, that's what I got to start doing, right? Like, start inventing, like Cthulhu, like start inventing new like mouth shapes the human can't form.
Yeah.
Or like Robert.
I'm still thinking about Robert in full force.
Oh, me too.
What a special guy.
Yeah, that was something. Guys, I watched a film directed by Fred Durst.
Oh.
Me too.
Is this the Tom Cruise one?
It's the one with John Travolta. A
Wait,
different
yeah.
I
Scientologist.
always
the
get them
other
mixed up as
Scientologist.
well.
Yeah.
The guy from Greece and Face Off.
I think if I was to review this film, it would be one line long and it would just say, boy, this sure is a film directed by Fred Durst.
Is it what?
Yeah.
Please tell me what that means.
There's a bit where two characters are driving along and Limp Bizkit comes on the radio and one of them goes, yeah, Limp Bizkit.
They're still relevant.
Oh my god.
And it wasn't even one of their classics. It was like from whatever their latest album is.
Yeah. What the fuck was that about? Like, they're not playing Rollin' or My Way. They're just playing some, like, generic new shit.
Durst needs you to know it's still popping.
Yeah, Fred wants to move beyond the classics.
Yeah.
Did you like this film?
No, not at all.
I liked it.
Yeah, I knew you would.
Okay. Do you know
Like, me and Michelle were
like?
watching it and we were like, I bet Bryan loves this movie.
Okay. It's not a good film.
No.
Obviously. But I thought John Travolta was fucking brilliant in it.
He was alright.
Like, he disappeared into that role. Like, it was just a movie about a really strange looking man that did weird stuff. I thought it was just like a really weird character that an actor played.
It was fun. Like, he was good.
Like, he doesn't look like anyone I've ever seen in my life. Like, it doesn't look like John Travolta.
Yeah.
It just, it's this dude called Moose.
In fairness, John Travolta hasn't looked like John Travolta in years.
He looks completely different. And like,
yeah.
And like, and
you gotta respect someone, an actor like him, when he's like, just make me look as shitty as possible.
Yeah. The last few times they've shown John Travolta in the public, it's him at award ceremonies, and every time he messes up. He like completely mispronounces a name or gives the award to the wrong person. Just not good at it.
Just when you have such a low Faden, is that what the Scientologist?
Tethan?
No, it's Fade. Who knows? We know nothing.
Yeah.
Metachlorians, when you have such a low metachlorian count.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh dear.
Oh dear. I was amused and I wasn't bored. Like, that's what I would say with this movie. Like, I wasn't bored at all. It was just the kind of thing where, like, you can tell someone like has the idea in like a fever dream, and like stuff happens, but it's the kind of movie where like there's no theme, there's no message. It's just some stuff happening.
Also, the film has narration that you could tell was added in at the very end,
Yes.
and it's just there to patch up the mess.
And like John Travolta's best friend is like this like beautiful young Hollywood reporter girl, and it's like, why is she hanging around this very challenged man?
Yeah. The first scene with him where he goes into the Hollywood collector's shop and he's just talking about how he needs to poo. And he says, I need to poo.
Yeah.
That kind of sets up the rest of the movie.
Yeah, that was a good line as well.
Yeah.
So was that the moment you liked the movie? Like, what is it about it that sells you on it?
It has John Travolta and it has Devon Sawa, and it's directed by Fred Durst from Limp Bizkit. That's what I like about the movie.
Is there bits of this movie, Ryan, that you'd kind of be like, oh shit?
Yeah, the bit with the shotgun really fucked me up. I was like, yeah. Okay, the guy, because he likes this Hollywood action star called, he's like the fucking weirdest
Hunter Thomas?
Hunter Dunbar?
Dunbar, yeah.
Hunter Dunbar, which is not a human being's name.
That's a great name.
There's a guy called Armie Hammer who's an actor. Come on, like it's a human, that could be anyone's name.
Okay, anyway, he's called Hunter Dunbar, and he's played by Devon Sawa, who was at the end of Casper. He was also in Idle Hands, but he also played Stan in the music video Stan, which is now a word that we use in 2019.
That's the weirdest word to me, because that went away for a long time.
Yeah.
Like, that showed up in like 2017 after not being relevant for like 20 years.
And so Stan, the obsessive fan, is Devon Sawa, but in this, Devon Sawa plays the victim of the obsessive fan. And that's all he does now.
Yeah. Like, those bits were done well. And like, I have had interactions that verged on that strange with people, minus the rest of the movie. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you will meet, I've met people a bit like that, and there were parts of that movie where I was like, fuck. A weird movie. Niamh, you've been watching American Horror Story Apocalypse.
Yeah, really quickly, this is the latest season of American Horror Story that aired a while back, but it's all on Netflix now. This is the season where it's kind of a callback to every other season.
Yeah.
But it's mostly involving the witches from season 3, the Coven.
The bit where they show up.
It's so good.
Yeah, it's great.
Did they show up on their broomsticks?
No, you don't know that this series is related to the rest of America. Like, this series has been out for like a year, so I don't mind talking about this stuff. You don't know that. You just think this is another isolated American Horror Story. And then, like, the witches from season 3 show up, and you're like, what? And they're played by the same characters. And there's some scenes in this. I think there's one scene, and there's all these different characters, and 3 of them are played by the one person.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. Like, Billy Lord is playing multiple characters, so is Sarah Paulson. Like, they're all reprising their old roles. So it's like a kind of waltz down memory lane, but also a little bit of a sequel to everything that's ever happened in American Horror Story. Like, they go back to the house in season 1.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And kind of see what the ghosts are up to now.
It's cool, right? Like,
yeah.
I really got a kick out of that stuff.
The one with, like, Xander. No, not Xander. Fucking Zachary Quinto. Yeah. I don't know why I said Xander. I don't want to talk about Xander.
I'm enjoying it a lot, and it's always felt with American Horror Story that you could lift out Coven and have it always be its own kind of series. So I kind of like that there's a continuation of these characters. Like, they could do more of this and I'd be happy. Like, just pull the witch stuff out, because they introduce, you have the female Coven, and now you have the male one, and they're trying to rise a male supreme in a usually female role, and there's just a lot of drama, and it's really like that high fashion witch aesthetic that really works.
It's strong.
Yeah, it's really fun. And Sarah Paulson as Cordelia, I love her in that role. I think it's my favorite Sarah Paulson American Horror Story role.
I think it's maybe my favorite American Horror Story.
Yeah, it's one of them, definitely. I think it's, after disappointments like Roanoke for me and Cult, I'm really into this one, so I'm happy that it's all on Netflix.
Yeah.
So if you guys slept on it, maybe give it a shot.
It like when I was watching it, I was like astounded at how much I was enjoying it. Because usually American Horror Story, first couple episodes I'm intrigued, and then the series will go whatever way it goes.
Yeah, and they're doing fun stuff. Like they're bringing people back from hell.
Yeah,
they're doing pair ups that you would normally not get with them. You're like,
Yeah.
that's an unusual pair up, but it works and it's funny. It's a good time.
yeah, and I think a lot of the Satan savior stuff, like how they build up that character, he's pretty frightening.
Yeah.
You know, there's some good scenes, and then like, you know, he reaches that like the dark church, and it's good shit. I like that. I'm glad you're enjoying it.
I am.
Brian,
Yeah.
why don't you tell us a little bit about Wu-Tang and American Saga?
Okay, Wu-Tang and American Saga is a TV series that's coming out every week on Hulu, and it is about the origin of the Wu-Tang Clan in the early 90s in New York City, mainly in Staten Island, where a lot of the core members are from. And I guess it's made in response to films like Straight Outta Compton and that awful Tupac movie that came out as well. And I guess it's Wu-Tang's version of their origin story. And the RZA and Method Man, I think, are executive producers on it. It's co-created by the RZA, and it is a semi-fictional retelling of their origin story, but a lot of it is punched up for dramatic effect.
Sure.
Like, they're all shooting at each other at the moment, which I'm sure didn't really happen. I'm sure maybe someone was just angry at someone for 2 weeks.
I don't know. Some of that rap stuff gets really weird and intense.
It's okay. I love the Wu-Tang Clan, and I think they're my favorite rap group. They're so different to a lot of other rap groups from the 90s. And this is already kind of like, it's so different to other rap origin stories and movies and other media where like they try to move past all the kind of like I guess a lot of them are always like rags to riches success stories.
Yeah.
But the majority of these rapper movies or media will focus on the success part more than the kind of struggle at the beginning. But this is very, very much about them being in their early 20s and having no jobs, no future, and not knowing what to do with their lives.
Yeah.
And it's 4 or 5 episodes in, and they've done very little rapping. They entered a rap contest and came last place. But other than that, it's more just about like their personal struggles with each other and their extended family. Because a lot of the members of the Wu-Tang Clan are cousins with each other. So the main guy, the RZA, who is known, whose real name is Robert, but he's called Bobby. But in this, they don't use their Wu-Tang names because they didn't have them yet. So they have different street names. So you're not really sure who's who. And a lot of the actors they've cast don't really look like their true counterparts, except for maybe the guy who plays Old Dirty Bastard. Looks exactly like a young Old Dirty
Is he out of
Bastard.
jail?
He died in 2004.
Oh no. So that's a no.
No. So the RZA, Jizza, and Old Dirty Bastard are all cousins of each other.
Okay. Who's your favorite Wu-Tang Clan member, Brian?
Old Dirty Bastard.
Yeah.
He's not a good guy. But like, you know the way I guess with rappers, they're very much about portraying themselves as successful and, you know, well composed, and they've kind of moved on from their troubles.
Yeah.
And I guess like you've got someone like Jay-Z, and he's like just the most streamlined, optimized success story.
He's like so beyond all that. Yeah.
And so the whole thing with ODB was he would present himself as a goblin man. Like he was an old dirty bastard. Like didn't brush his teeth, smelt bad, would pick food out of his mouth, would show up drunk, didn't know what state in America he was in. And so, but then he was also a very wise old soul who kind of knew way too much about humanity and would say prophetic things sometimes.
This sounds cool.
Yeah. The main guy, so RZA's the main guy, and he's played by... Do you remember Moonlight that came out 2 years ago? The middle story of Moonlight. So it's that actor, whose name I can't remember. I I don't know what else to say. It's just like,
It sounds very good, Brian. It sounds like you're having a good time with it.
yeah, it's just a really weird rapper show about my favorite rap group, and I just really like the Wu-Tang Clan.
I never like got into the Wu-Tang Clan, but just because I never met someone who was into them. Like, I got so into NWA when I was like a teenager.
Yeah, see, for me, I wasn't into NWA. I was into Wu-Tang, and like they're different sides of the coast.
Yeah, because I used to be really, really just like into like new metal and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then I heard NWA, and I was like, these guys are as angry as my metal groups.
Yeah, yeah.
And I like that a lot.
See, like the thing with Wu-Tang is they're not really angry. They're like a weird they're like Lonely Island, where they're most of their tracks are like joke songs.
Really?
Like they're taking the piss out
But
of
they're
themselves.
also very into kung fu.
Yeah, no, like they are like kung fu nerds, and they and like a big part of the show is them sitting around watching old kung fu movies from the 70s, like with Pai Mai and Bruce Lee and stuff.
Yeah, those
And
movies
just
are
being,
so...
yeah, just
Do
being,
you guys ever watch any of those old kung fu movies? Which ones do you like?
I always like the old Jackie Chan ones, like
They're
Drunken
so
Master and stuff.
good. Oh
Yeah.
my god. Drunken Master is like one of my
Drunken
favorite
Master is
movies
really,
ever.
really good. The first time I got exposed to Wu-Tang Clan was their song Gravel Pit, where it's done up like the Flintstones. And I'd seen the Flintstones movie, and it was just so weird to see, because I guess at the time a lot of rap songs was just them in like cars and showing off like diamonds and being successful and kind of bragging. But it was so funny to see a bunch of rappers wear costumes and just like goof around with each other. But that's what that show is. It's just a bunch of silly boys,
Yeah.
who want to be like successful, so they just decide to become successful, and it's super cool.
Yeah.
Like Method Man, I think his real name is Cliff. He worked in the gift shop of the Statue of Liberty for 5 years.
Jesus.
So there's multiple scenes where they're at the Statue of Liberty gift shop, and he's just sweeping up the place.
That's really good. Brian, you also watched Becoming a God in Central Florida.
On Becoming a God in Central Florida. Have you watched this yet, Niamh?
No, not yet.
It's very good. It stars Kirsten Dunst, and I think this is an Amazon Prime TV series. I don't know. It's also an online show, and it's Kirsten Dunst in the early 90s in Florida, and she's getting revenge on a pyramid scheme cult.
Love it.
Wow.
Isn't that fucking brilliant?
That's great.
Mhm.
And it has early 90s aesthetic. It looks like a Todd Solondz movie, and she has train track braces on her teeth, and she has just had a baby, and her husband is deep into this pyramid scheme, and he has decided that today is the day it's all gonna change. And he's brainwashed. She's surrounded by brainwashed people, and the first 3 episodes are kind of its own like film, I guess, that kind of set up the rest of the series. So I wasn't sure what the point of the show was until the end of episode 3, where it kind of like suddenly sets itself towards its target. Like, you know how like the first 3 episodes of Breaking Bad are kind of like that, where like it's kind of aimless until all of a sudden
You nearly feel like each episode could be the end of the series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This feels the exact same way, where you're like, I don't know the point of this show, but by the end of episode 3, I was like, oh, okay, I get what she's going for. And I can understand why it begins in the early 90s, because this is gonna be like this is a big plan that she has. But I think the show is gonna be about her pretending to be super into the pyramid scheme, rising up through the ranks to expose and destroy it. I'm down for that adventure.
That sounds cool.
It's a very good show. It definitely takes a while to get into, but I'm looking forward to the next episode.
Cool.
I feel there has to be a whole pile of documentaries and tell-all books about the 90s and early 2000s explosion into pyramid scheme stuff.
There's one on Herbalife, I think.
Do you know
Really?
what's so
Yeah.
interesting about that stuff? It's basically a cult. Like
Yeah.
pyramid schemes are cults.
Oh no, like this is 100% a cult. Like there are like rallies in this where they're trying to psych themselves up for success, and it's
just
empty.
how widespread it was. Like it wasn't just an American phenomenon. Like it was happening in Ireland and the UK and all around the world.
Anything with
Yeah.
like a kind of organizational kind of structure that people can set up, I think there's nearly always rooms for it to turn into this weird fucking cult, you know?
And like it's got the thing where it's got the person in power, and he's played by Ted Levine, who played Buffalo Bill in Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah.
But he has like a big fuck off mustache and arrives everywhere by helicopter. like, and he's untouchable. Like, he doesn't have a phone number.
I ever talk about, maybe I talked about it recently actually, fake martial arts cults.
Go on.
Okay, there's this Instagram you guys need to go check out, and it's called McDojo Life. And what this is a collection of basically fake martial artists, okay? But like the head of the schools are so well respected and so revered by everyone around them that the entire class thinks that these guys have like supernatural powers. And so you can see these videos where like basically they're fighting 10 dudes and they're beating them all without touching them. Like they're literally shooting ki blasts and their students are like jumping backwards and being like, oh, like, and they're cults. Like they're just cults. And you get all these people who are super convinced that they're going to be able to learn to do this stuff. And it sucks. And I hate these fucking people.
It's just people who got away with making schools out of like their fake martial arts.
Yeah,
in the
and
90s.
like you see, the thing is, like, before UFC, before like mixed martial arts became a thing, anyone could set up a martial arts like dojo, and they could all just pretend, listen, my style is so deadly that I'll kill my opponents in seconds so I can never fight anyone. And people would believe them, you know? And you can also find videos where like a lot of these old like real like supernatural kung fu masters fight MMA fighters, and it's brutal because they get destroyed. And it's sad because it's this like old man who spent his whole life thinking he has superpowers getting like knocked out in like 2 punches. And it sucks, but at the same time it's like they deluded themselves, you know?
Mm-hmm. They deluded themselves and then a bunch of people and took their money for it.
Yep. And then like, you know, imagine people going to learn this shit for like self-defense. Like it's pretty despicable. But yeah, that's a tangent. Cults are bad. Like I know I always say controversial things on this podcast. But I am a hero. I am the hero of the internet, and cults are bad. So yeah, I know that's going to upset people, but just there it is.
Put it on a tote bag.
Yep. I watched it, chapter 2.
There you go.
There we go.
And
it's a weird one to talk about because I feel like a lot of people liked that remake, and I know we didn't, but I think like it was received pretty positively, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. People, the masses enjoyed it.
Yeah, I hated it. I thought it was like just a lifeless movie that didn't understand horror, you know? Like, you always hear the criticism of it that, like, oh, it has a lot of jump scares. Most horror films have a jump scare at some point because at some point some frightening thing will be revealed, right? But what I hated about that was there was no, like, rhythm or technique to it. It was just jump scare, jump scare, jump scare, jump scare. And it was all this big CG shit that just... like, didn't feel real, didn't feel believable in a way that horror needs to.
And doesn't feel earned by the audience.
No, so it was like a roller coaster in that it was, like, kind of exciting. But I guess, like, when you've watched a lot of horror films, I feel like you look at that film and you're like, there's nothing really here, you know? Like, there's no emotion to it. Mm-hmm. It's just constantly trying to provoke a physical reaction. It Chapter 2 is like that. It's exactly like that. But... it's also way goofier.
Okay.
The adults cast, there's so many jokes in this movie, and the weird thing is, a lot of them kind of land. Like, it's kind of funny.
Okay, so are we going into this expecting to be scared or expecting to laugh?
I was going in expecting to be scared, and I spent the first 30 minutes of the movie, the first 30 minutes of this 3-hour movie, being like, what the fuck? Because even the tone feels really different to the other It. It's like from a different writer and everything, so I'm guessing that's why. But
the first one was in development hell for years.
Yeah, it had 3 writers. This had 1.
Yeah.
And but then after half an hour, I was like, okay, like I've kind of laughed once or twice. There's a really good bit where Bill Hader tells a kid to shut the fuck up. Bill Hader's great in it. The rest of the cast are pretty good as well.
Yeah, it's got like James McAvoy and Jessica Chastain.
Yeah, and they all have good chemistry. Like, it feels like these actors enjoy acting together.
It's got Ziggy from The Wire as well, doesn't it?
Oh my god, it does.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. Remember that guy?
Yeah.
Fucking Ziggy.
Poor Ziggy. But yeah, and I actually ended up enjoying it, not as a horror movie. I think as a horror movie, these movies are bad, but it was like a stupid movie that was 3 hours long that I didn't hate watching. And for a movie to be 3 hours and have me not like squirming by the end of it was pretty impressive. So yeah, I guess I'd give it a like kind of tentative. If you want to see like a weird horror comedy, this movie's actually all right. I've seen a lot of people say like, "Oh, it's such a letdown from the first movie."
John's squirming and shrugging.
I don't know. Like
He's gonna go like.
I thought the first movie was a letdown for the first. I don't know, but I guess that's the thing.
It's just a stupid clown movie.
But like the thing about like the original It is that's a stupid movie as well. Like if you watch that movie, it's aged pretty horrendously in places, but when it does bring the horror, it's like surreal and strange, and it feels like a weird fever dream.
Yeah. So does this movie have a really, really long Chinese restaurant scene? Or
Yes.
how long does it go on for?
Why do you know that?
Because that's so specific and weird.
Because the Chinese restaurant scene goes on for about 15 minutes, and it's the end of that scene that I was kind of like basically there's this part in It where they all start hallucinating in the Chinese restaurant and their food starts turning into all weird stuff. And there's such a big gag at the end of that scene, like such a massive piece of visual comedy that I was like, what the and then Bill Hader tells the child to shut the fuck up.
Okay, so to me this sounds like Beetlejuice.
That's a really, really good like comparison.
Like you know the bit where they're singing like Deo and like the fucking prawn cocktails like turn into hands.
It's not unlike that.
Okay.
And
this sounds all right then.
I had an okay time with it, you know. There's okay. I was just curious to see were they going to hint at the orgy. Orgy, sorry.
Yeah.
The origin of the orgy.
Okay, look,
the orgy.
Look,
the
straight up. That's not a word that creeps into my day-to-day life. Okay, I don't really know how to say it.
I thought you were going to talk about the magic turtle.
The magic turtle's not in it.
What's the fucking point?
I know, yeah, no, the Destiny turtle's not there. But the orgy?
Don't tell me.
What?
You're saying orgy like you've never.
I don't
said
say
the
it
word.
often. What do you think? I'm fucking like walking down the street and I'm like, oh, better put a spring in my step so I'm not late for the orgy.
It's four letters.
Do characters slam it in this movie?
Okay, so they don't. Okay, infamously, there's a scene in the book of It where, as children, the characters all defeat the clown and then have a big orgy.
Okay.
Yeah. That happens.
Yep, Stephen King. What's going on there, buddy?
He's very prolific. Makes a book a year.
Yep.
There's no time. There's no time to think about
Dr.
it.
Sleep, can't wait.
Yeah.
And there's a bit where they're all adults and they're all remembering, and then one of them's like, "Do you remember the clown? Do you remember when we defeated the clown? Do you remember what happened after that?" And then they just move right on by it.
Oh, that's good.
And I was like, ooh. It's you could deny it. You could say that's not what they're going for. I think it was what they're going for.
That's the best way to acknowledge and deflect it. That's very well handled.
Yeah. I had fun with this movie. It was stupid. Me and Michelle went there and we both had a great time and we laughed a lot. And like not laugh as in like the kind of way people laugh at horror movies, but like laugh at the actual jokes. So yeah, It Chapter 2, way better than It Chapter 1, you idiots.
There you go.
There you go. Bryan, Steven Universe movie.
Yeah, I watched the Steven Universe movie just to know, just to see. And it's very, very good. I enjoyed it a lot.
Bad guy seems cool.
Yeah, the bad guy Spinel is super cool. I knew what a Spinel was because of Resident Evil 4. Because you're always shooting them from cave ceilings in Resident Evil 4. Do you
What's a
remember
Spinel?
Oh, what's it? Yeah.
It's a gem. Obviously.
Oh.
Yeah, you know?
You're right. Okay.
Yeah.
See, Niamh, that's your orgy.
Spinel?
Spinel. See, I thought it was spinal.
See?
Yeah, but it's spinal.
Spinel, orgy, it's all the same.
Okay, so this is a 2-year time skip after the events of Steven Universe, and You don't need to have seen Steven Universe really to know what happens, because there's an Our Town song. It's basically a Disney musical with so many fucking songs. Like, there's so many songs. And the songs are great, but I'm not really into musicals.
You love songs in Disney movies, don't you?
No, that's new.
I just love songs in anything.
I
It
think
doesn't
you've
have to be a
complained
Disney movie.
about songs not being in Disney movies before, though, right?
They need to be done at the right time.
Okay.
Sometimes they need to talk about the problem, not sing.
You can sing a problem away.
But sometimes...
You can dance it away.
Niamh, why don't you give us a little song about your current problems? Go.
John, I'm not going to do
Niamh.
that.
Please.
Niamh.
Please.
Just
Niamh.
one line. Hey guys, this is John recording from the future, and Niamh did actually sing a song, but it was so vulgar that we've decided to cut it from the podcast. We're really sorry. We know people would love to hear it, but just some things are just not meant to be. Back to the podcast. You know what, Niamh? You know what? You fucking showed me.
That was beautiful.
We are cutting that right out, John.
We're not.
We'll see.
No, I find singing is the answer to all our problems.
It is.
So tell me about the Steven Universe movie.
I just thought it was a lovely movie. The new character Spinel, it's very, very difficult, I guess, with a TV show with a large roster of established characters to all of a sudden introduce a new character and make them very relevant to the overall storyline.
You got the Dragon Ball Z movie problem.
Yeah. And what they did with Spinel was they set her up in a way that she knows some of the characters, roots herself into a problem, and is annoying, is meant to be annoying, and it's handled super well.
Cool.
And I really, really liked the storytelling and problem solving that they did. It was fantastic. She's such a cool crystal gem. I'm gonna call her crystal gem. Like, she's basically Luffy from One Piece meets Mickey Mouse. But silly symphony Mickey Mouse.
So she has like hammer space.
She's a rubber hose character.
Yeah,
She
okay.
even has like the like bouncing up and down, and she has like the polka dot eyes, with a little like cheese wedge chunk taken out.
Did that work for
Oh yeah.
the style? Because she's very visually different than
Yeah.
every other character.
But she's super flexible, so she only does it for certain scenes, and when she introduces herself at the beginning through song, they get a lot of that out of the way, and you're like, oh, okay, I guess that's all they've done with her character. But then they kind of, there's a bit where she uses Luffy's Gear Third, where she has a giant fist coming at you, and it's shot for shot a bit in One Piece.
And like it's direct One Piece
Oh yeah,
reference.
100%.
Okay.
And you're like, okay, they're just borrowing from like everyone's favorite bits of anime and animation, and just making a really cool
they've borrowed
villain
from like a ton of Wu-Tang
Yeah.
and stuff before, haven't they?
Yeah, and like she has the two like short stubby twin ponytails, but they're always in silhouette, just like Mickey Mouse's ears.
Yeah.
And like the whole point of her character is that she's meant to be annoying, and you're supposed to sympathize with an annoying character, and they successfully get you to do that. I'm not gonna say any more, but it's very good. It's a very good film.
Any favourites come back? Was Jasper there?
No, Jasper's not in it.
God, they really
I don't
hate
think
Jasper.
anyone appreciates Jasper
Yeah.
besides us, Niamh.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of other characters are in it, other than some of the secondary characters that have had their own standalone episodes are on screen. I guess it's kind of like Simpsons, where you're not sure who you're going to get as like a secondary character, but the ones that are in it are great. There's some great fusions in this, because they have a new fusion, and it's a really, really interesting combination, and it's a very, very cool design. I really, really like this film, and I kind of fell off Steven Universe. And
Would this make you curious to fall back in with Steven Universe, or do you think you're good?
I think I'm okay. Like, I could fill in the gaps.
Sure.
But they might make more. I'm not sure. I'm not like following Steven Universe anymore, but I like the idea of like dipping in and out.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna give it another run at some point, because when I love that show,
Yeah,
you know.
it's fantastic.
Yeah, no, it was very, very cool. Guys, let's say we move into some strategy talk.
video game part of the video game podcast.
Yep, you've waited your standard 40 minutes.
45
minutes,
Yeah.
and now we're going to actually talk about video games. Let's say we start off with one that we ended on last week. Guys, how are you getting on with Control?
We've beaten it.
Yep, we've both finished it.
We beat the shit out of it. John, have you beaten it?
In a sense,
You're done with it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I tried.
I don't know how to spoil this game because it's so abstract in places. My kind of take home from it is that I really enjoyed this game. I wish this game enjoyed me back as much as I could enjoy it.
You want a game that plays you as much as you play it?
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you about Silent Hill Shattered Memories.
Next time, John.
I'm sorry.
No, I really enjoyed it. For the most part, it was it was a good experience. Apart from a few hitches. Do you have something similar?
It's a hard one to talk about because I think if you're gonna like it, you're really gonna like it. Like when I finished it, when I got the ending, there was a moment where I shouted out like bullshit at the TV. Like it elicited a strong response, and I like how it ended. I thought it did some clever stuff.
Hang on. Break that down for me, because you shouted at it that it was bullshit, but you also liked it.
I like that it surprised me. Like there was a moment where I was like, "That's bullshit," but it kept going, and I don't know. I didn't realize I was so invested in it until something very major happened at the end, where I was just like, "Wait," and then I realized that I was actually very into the mystery. Like it was something that triggered a like, "Oh no, I don't want that to happen."
Oh, so you were like, so it was like a "oh no," as opposed to like, "this story is bullshit."
It was kind of like it was a bullshit moment, but it turned out to be not a real moment.
Yeah.
It was purposely bullshit, if you get me.
Yeah.
Did you know that you were in the last section of the game when you were in the last section of the game?
I did because you told me.
Okay. Because I'm sorry about that. But I guess my experience was I didn't know, and then I was like, wait, I don't have a sense of an ending in any way. But that's also what happened with Alan Wake, where imagine watching 2/3 of a movie and the credits start rolling. That's what Control is.
Right.
Yeah, like it doesn't feel like it's reaching a crescendo. Like you feel like you're just opening another door into another part of it, but the door keeps going and suddenly the walls are moving and then it's over.
Yeah.
It happens really fast, but I knew it was going to come because Bryan had told me you get to a point and you can't go back, so I went and did all my extra side missions before I did that bit.
See, like I probably should have realized that, but I think I was just so zoned in that I didn't realize I was in a point of no return.
Right.
But you know the way a lot of modern video games now kind of tell you, hey, you're going to go to a point of no return.
You always have a side character being like, listen, if you got anything to...
Yeah, so I don't know if there was... I didn't acknowledge any of that or notice any of that.
It feels like this game feels simultaneously like really fresh and interesting. Like it's doing new stuff, it's at least exploring the medium of games, like just in terms of switching around environments. Like you have a 3D space that they're using the 3D-ness of the space, even just with her being able to levitate and move around.
The levitation shit I thought was cool.
Yeah.
Like it's super cool, and a lot of it feels fresh, but then a lot of it feels so old and video gamey. Just the mission structure, it says you are a janitor and you do unlock a janitor's outfit, and there is a lot of kind of
Custodial
cleaning
work,
up and busy work, but it's kind of woven into the plot, but it still feels very gamey.
Yeah.
And I kind of sometimes, like, while I did enjoy the combat and enjoyed how fluid it could get, I always kind of saw the combat as something I had to get through to get to the next cool visual or cool story
100%,
moment.
yeah.
You know? When it did feel good, it felt good, but other times I was just like, oh, don't spawn, fuck off. I'm just trying to get from A to B at this stage.
Yeah, I usually skipped a lot of those encounters if I could.
Run past them and stuff.
Yeah.
I did never get tired of ripping like a chunk out of the wall or like picking up like
it's so
a
satisfying.
forklift and just fucking at an enemy. Like that always felt good.
Jessie feels good to control in
Very
combat.
good, yeah.
Like when you have her all specced up, she feels great.
You have the dodge and you have the levitate, and that's kind of fun.
And since then it's been patched, so all that like hitching and the map not loading and stuff has been fixed, hasn't it?
Yeah.
It has definitely for the Pro, but I don't know about the
Or
standard.
with the standard, yeah. And there is DLC coming out for it.
Yeah, that's it. Like, it was short. Like, I think I finished it between somewhere like 15 and 20 hours. And
That's longer than I would have thought.
I think you can finish it in 10 if you really
You think
wanted
you just
to.
did a lot of side stuff?
I did
Yeah.
everything you can do.
Okay,
Like,
yeah,
I've
yeah.
platinumed it now.
Yeah.
Oh,
to
wow.
Me, yeah, to me it was
It's
about
an
10
easy,
hours.
It's an easy platinum if someone is interested in that out there. But when it hit the end, I was satisfied with what I got. But also, it's one of the first games where I want to explore that world more. They've laid out a really great foundation for stuff, so I'm gonna get the DLC, and I'm kind of excited to see where it goes. But
Yeah,
I don't
and
feel...
like they have. I think that could be a really exciting vehicle for shit they could do.
Yeah, like they're bringing Alan Wake into it in 2020, and like that's going to be cool for Alan Wake towns because there's a lot of like allusions to Alan Wake in Control. Like the town where Jesse's from is where Alan was from, you know.
Ordinary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like it's one of those games where if someone told me they hated it, I'd be like, yeah, like, you know, that sure, totally.
You know what? I was kind of angry when I beat the game, but actually during the week I went on the like fan wiki that they've made, and I typed in the oldest house, and someone has like uploaded like a screenshot of the oldest house, like what it actually looks like in Manhattan, and it's amazing.
That's cool.
It's just this like skyscraper made out of gray, like semi-gray sandy concrete sticking out in the middle of nowhere, and like it has an address, and the whole thing is it looks so boring that you just walk by it, but it's a really like it's a big giant concrete skyscraper. It's fucking ridiculous.
It had some of my favorite moments I think I've had this year. Like, I wouldn't say the whole entire game was a favorite moment or favorite game, but there was bits in it, like certain missions. Like, I think the guy staring at the fridge mission is really cool, and
Yeah.
resolving that and fighting the boss in that fridge is really fun. The ashtray maze at the end where you hear what the Old Gods of Asgard's song playing while you're floating around this,
That bit's fucking brilliant.
yeah, this like ever-changing hotel room. Like, it has a lot of visual high points to
Yeah.
it.
Guys, I hate this game.
You just hate it.
I hate it so much, and
Yeah.
I'm so glad I never have to play it again, because Jesus fucking Christ, I hate everything about this game.
Did you buy it digitally or physically?
Physically, because I kind of knew there was a chance this would happen.
If you trade it in, you get it for €40.
Yeah, but like it is the kind of thing where you're saying like, this was like so not my game in so many ways, and like what's disappointing is that the stuff that you guys like about it I think is really cool as well. I really like the fridge stuff. That was deadly. Like, that's so fun. But then like there's so much other stuff about it where I just feel like what it's doing I have seen in other media and seen just so much better.
But I feel like that's a criticism you level against everything, and you could say about everything. Everything is a derivative of everything. Like, I haven't played a game that brings all of this together, like, recently at least, you know? It's kind of like, yeah, it reminds me of a lot of things. It reminds me of X-Files, it reminds me of Fringe, it reminds me of a lot of stuff like that, but I don't think I've experienced it on the PS4 in this way, in this kind of narrative, you know?
Sure, I don't think that sense has like much appeal to me.
Okay.
You know, where it's like, to me, like, if I see something and then I see it in like a video game, I want to see the video game kind of do something else with it.
Well, it does. It makes it interactive. I now got to fly through the ever shifting walls.
Sure, but like for me, I just felt like the stuff I liked about this game, I literally could have gone on SCP and just read random articles and got the same experience. And there was like, even like the part that made me drop it was actually the boss fight in the fridge. You know, who you fight the giant insect thing,
Yeah.
and it starts like punching holes and you can fall down through the holes and it's an instant death. That happened to me like 4 or 5 times, and I was like, I am so fucking done with this.
Just get better.
Sure, Niamh, I'll get better. But like, and just I feel like I played like 5 to 8 hours somewhere in that vicinity, and I couldn't tell you a single thing in the way the story had progressed. I got up to the point where I met my brother, And then he delivered a lot of spooky dialogue, and I was like, I am fucking done with this. Bryan.
Yeah.
Why not? Oh God.
We'll try again.
Yep.
I beat Knights and Bikes. Is that what you wanted to ask?
Sure.
Sure. Yeah, I beat Knights and Bikes. It's a very cute game, lovely ending. Overall, very happy I played it. Charming game.
Yeah.
I think if you're interested in the visuals, give it a go. It'll definitely be on sale as well. If you play it now, you can play it later. Got a TV adaptation has been greenlit as well.
That's so cool.
Saying, yeah, I just it's cool to see a trendy children's book as a video game.
Yeah.
How long was it in the end?
I'm not sure. Maybe like 5 or 6 hours.
Cool.
It does kind of get a bit slow in the middle, but I found towards the end that it did kind of pick up again, and the puzzles were good. I did a tiny bit of the co-op as well, just to see what that was like, and that was good. The AI, for the most part, is super handy, because like the game requires both of the characters, so if you're playing solo, the AI will do all the work on their end, because they have different abilities and different elemental powers to solve some of the puzzles. And sometimes if you don't know which character you're meant to use, if you put one of the characters in front of, you know, the machine, they will start automatically using their power. So then that's kind of part of the problem halfway solved, and then you need to do your end.
Oh, right.
Which is a nice touch, I find, because sometimes there are bits where, like, I think if you were playing with 2 people, you'd need to really cooperate.
Yeah. But you enjoyed it.
Yeah, no.
So,
I
like,
did.
we're kind of coming up to the end of the year now.
Yeah.
And it's like, we're kind of looking at, like, you know, our favorite stuff we played this year and stuff. For you, where does a game like Knights and Bikes rank?
I thought I'd like it more, but I wasn't disappointed at all.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be like a super favorite thing, but
Something people should check out.
yeah, like if someone asked me about Knights and Bikes, I'd be like, yeah, it's great. Really, really good game.
Niamh,
Yes,
you've been playing Blasphemous.
I have.
Yeah.
As of you.
As have I.
I don't really know how to talk about this game. You describe it for me. Metroidvania.
I guess so, yeah.
Yeah.
Very, very Metroidy, very like multiple different areas.
Christian Dark Souls.
Yeah.
The more I play it, the less I think of it as a Dark Souls.
No,
Yeah. The enemies don't have that kind of thing to them.
No.
that's a shame.
Yeah. I think this game is like one of my favorite looking games that's come out all year. I think it's absolutely beautiful and like, yeah, like Catholic Dark Souls.
It's aesthetically cool. Like, it's pixel art with a really cool character design. He looks
Yeah.
like a starfish. He's a really long, pointy helmet.
Has this really long, cool sword.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like you're going through this like fucking just desolate world, and it's so grim. Like, it's so grim. You're fighting like naked people tied to statues, and just and like that's just a regular enemy dragging the statue behind them. You're fighting like my favorite design I've found in it is like a nun, but she's dragging this urn behind her, and there's hands coming out of the urn, and she swings it at you, like kind of nightmarish stuff. God, I want to like this game. I really want to like this game.
What's it not doing for you?
You know the way, like, Dark Souls is difficult. This is frustrating. Like, the levels go on for or like the kind of different areas, they're so big and they go on for so long. And a lot of the game design just like I don't think it's that fun, you know? Like, I don't know if you've gotten to many of the kind of other areas, but I find like there's so many rooms where it's like there's all these like waterfalls of lava. So you stand in front of one, you wait for it to stop pouring, you move past it. You stand in front of the next one, you wait for it to stop pouring, you move past it. And it's not like difficult, it's just frustrating.
Yeah, you do that with the poison drops as well.
Yep.
With the spikes.
Yeah.
Really, really inspiring stuff, guys.
That's the thing, like the
Yeah.
art direction, and I have a feeling there's cool stuff going on with the story, but like the level design and just even the placement of the enemies, it's so video gamey.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I like to play video games where it doesn't feel like you're going through a level. It feels like, oh, this is a house where a family would have lived, and so like there's two zombies who are like, the mom or the dad or whatever and something, and like they're not there to pad out the game. They're there because in the sense of this world, it makes sense that they would be there. This doesn't feel like that at all. There's like ladders that don't go anywhere. There's no sense of like, what's the word, like verisimilitude.
Sure. Yeah.
Where it's like it's a believable thing.
It lacks any organic sense to it.
Super Metroid. That entire world makes sense as like a planet.
Yeah, it's completely contextual.
This is a collection of levels that you have to like abstract into your brain to be a believable world.
Yeah.
It's like, say with Curse of the Moon, like you start on a ship and then you move into a castle. Like there's locations that you're progressing to. With this, it's like you're outside, you go in a door, you go down, like just underground, but then you can come outside again in a different, it's there's no sense of where you are.
And it works in a game like Control, but not in this.
And like maybe it's part of like, because you're called a penitent one, and in like Catholicism, like penance is like it's a lot of things, but it's a moral virtue as well. So it's kind of like maybe it's not meant to make visual sense, because the whole point is to just be penitent and to defeat sin.
Yeah. And
it's just, maybe it's abstract because the story's abstract, but I kind of don't feel it is because of what you were saying with the enemy placement. It seems just kind of gamey, but and with like, the Catholic stuff on top of it.
With what you're saying about like it feeling penitent, I could totally buy into that. Like I'd be so on board of that, but it doesn't feel difficult. It's just oh, I fell down this, I didn't see there was a pit here and now I'm impaled on spikes and I die and I go back.
I've played a few indie games like that where like the visuals are like a 10 out of 10, but just really uninspiring level design where it's just a crate you jump on and then there's a bit where you have to dodge a gap, and it's there because it's in other video games, but they haven't really thought about the philosophy of like what's this doing? Is this a quiet part? Is this a tricky part?
Okay, 100%. Yeah, absolutely.
Like I know there's the Mark Brown video on Mario Maker levels, like the original Mario Maker game, but he kind of talks about like the phases that you go through in a level, especially side-scrolling games where like they will introduce an idea, they'll expand on it, there's always a quiet bit, and then the third act of a level, but it's just like when you enter a new area, they'll introduce a mechanic, then they'll stack it. They might give you a branching path where you can go up or go down.
Yeah.
None of this is considered.
It feels like it could be randomly generated and everything happens. Like more stuff is added on, but sometimes it just feels like a palette swap, like lava for poison. You know what I mean? Like it's...
Yeah.
I feel like I'm going through the motions a lot of the time. And like there is cool things, like you'll get to a boss and again they'll bring back all the Catholic imagery. It'll be like the Pieta, and like it'll be like Jesus, but it's this weird like deer goat thing that's giant.
I fought that guy.
All right.
Yeah. But then like those rooms where these kind of really cool visually boss fights are in, there's never any sense, I'm coming to a boss fight, really.
Yeah, it's like walk through a gate and there it is.
And there it is, and walk through a gate and it could have been anything else.
Okay. But then like afterwards, when you're like exploring the area for maybe like some of the extra like upgrades and pickups, can you like memorize the area? Does it have like triggering locations where you're like, okay, I'm going, and then I know that there's gonna be...
I get so lost in this game.
Yeah, because I guess with like Super Metroid, the areas are so different to each other.
Yeah. But
they all kind of have a flow. Like one of them is a nest, so it has a very vertical downward layout to it.
But even like say the nest areas in Super Metroid, I feel like you could break that area into such distinct rooms.
Yeah.
You go, oh, that's where that room is, that where this room is. The rooms in this game just feel like a tile set manipulated different ways.
Yeah, that's disappointing.
It's super disappointing because I'd really encourage people to go check out the trailer for this, because like you have to understand what an amazing looking game this is. I'm struggling to stay with it.
I think I'm gonna get through it like a bit more because I like all the Catholic stuff. I've come across like the Lady of the Seven Sorrows were there, so it was just
she was
really
rad,
metal
yeah.
Mary, like pierced with the 7 swords, and she gives you a sword, and I was like, that's pretty cool.
And
But
it has like full animated cutscenes,
Yeah.
and they're beautiful.
in this kind of pixely style, and it looks cool. I do think they kind of have mixed and matched their kind of visual influence. Like sometimes it's super Catholic, and then other times there's a Grim Reaper, like just
yeah.
like
Okay.
a spooky kind of ghost with long spooky hands.
And I would
you know?
rather, like, I love the stuff they're doing with like giant people
Mm.
and like suggesting like god-like presence through like the size of people.
Mhm.
God, I want to fight that baby.
The giant baby.
Yeah,
Gotta beat up a baby.
it's just he's so cool looking.
And all the like it's a lot to do with like deifying stuff. Like there's a lot of statues that come to life. It's like it has what I assume is it's borrowing a lot from Catholicism, but like it's working into the narrative, but sometimes it doesn't do it fully.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm interested in seeing where it goes.
And I feel like we've leveled a lot of kind of not minor criticisms, but I feel like if we were to get granular, I could talk kind of all day about some of the issues, just with like the controls, and like I never feel the collectibles are meaningful.
No, me neither.
I've collected so many, and like there's like I counted there's 7 different kinds of collectibles in this game. None of them are like coins, they're all like items you pick up, but so few of them have like any real significance on how you play the game or anything. And just I'd love to love this game, but I don't think I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna stick with it a bit longer, but it's definitely a frustrating one to play.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a shame.
Brian,
Yeah.
let's talk about something that's not a shame.
What?
Tell us about Astral Chain.
Astral Chain.
Astral Shame.
Astral Chain. I'm 6 hours into this game, and I'm really, really enjoying it. At the 4-hour mark, I was like, this is bullshit.
Yeah.
I wasn't enjoying it. But then that game, I guess it's like a mixture of like, okay, so it's like a platinum game like Rising Revengeance and Bayonetta, but then it's also V from Devil May Cry 5,
A little bit, yeah.
where it's like a weird RTS character action game. And I kind of clicked with the controls after a while. It's its own game.
Yep.
And once you learn
Boy, that is not Bayonetta.
No. And once you learn that it is not a platinum game in the sense of other platinum games, and like it does have points of escalation, but it's so much slower, and
Yeah.
there's police work you gotta do.
Yeah, you like picking up litter.
But you know what? I like picking up
Me
litter.
too, yeah.
And like I think it's amazing that a platinum game has quiet moments to it where it's not high octane button mashing nonsense.
Why
And,
don't
like, that
you
stuff
dress
is
up as a
amazing.
dog and go cheer up the other police officers?
Yeah. This is a one of a kind experience. Like it's now my favorite platinum game.
Jesus.
Like I think it's brilliant.
Like, I like it. I'm not there.
See, like I really like Bayonetta, and I love
In Bayonetta 2, she cuts her hair short.
Yeah, she does. But like, you know how Rising Revengeance has amazing cutscenes and stuff like that. But I found with Rising Revengeance, my hands were getting sore, and I wasn't enjoying it after a while.
Right.
But with this, if I die, I'm like, maybe I'll try it this way or try it that way. And you like, there's lots of room for experimentation.
Yeah, totally.
But whereas I think something like Rising Revengeance, there is one way to play that game and you learn it. It's kind of
Yeah.
like Sekiro that way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I think something like Astral Chain is, I guess, more like Bloodborne, where you've got a variety of weapons in your arsenal.
I got the Fist Legion.
Yeah.
That's just a fucking JoJo stand. Like, I know they're all JoJo stands, but that thing has an aura.
Okay, so to me, the legions are JoJo stands that are Evangelions.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
because they were captured from another dimension, decorated to look like they're part of your side, and there's a big old government cover-up, and Gendo Ikari is there, but he's just Dr. Tenma from Astro Boy. Like, it's a mishmash of, like, all your favorite stuff in this weird fucking JoJo game.
I've been playing a little bit of it. I'm not too far in it, but I've also been watching my partner play it. And my fear with it is the gameplay is fun, but I think the narrative and the storytelling and the characters are super, super shallow.
it's definitely borrowing from other stuff.
It's borrowing from so much, and
It's
I think
very anime.
Yeah, it's very anime, but we kind of talked about silent protagonists before, and this protagonist is so silent that she doesn't feel particularly active in the narrative at all. Like, you have, like, Belith from Fire Emblem, and you choose dialogue options that gives her a personality. With this, she goes, "Ah!" And that's
it.
That's it.
Yeah.
And it's so weird that she's silent sometimes. Like, spoiler for a very early moment in the game, their dad dies.
Or does he?
Yeah.
And she's like...
It's implied.
It's like this weird...
Yeah,
kind of screaming.
And, like, I usually don't care about silent protagonists, but even that moment stuck out to me.
She felt extremely passive to the point that I think if you're being more interested in the female character, like, you might play as the boy to get more of the female character's narrative.
I regret not picking the boy because
for that reason.
I'd like to see the girl do her thing.
Yeah, I know, and yeah, because like the boy's character design looks almost the same as another guy on,
except glasses.
except he has glasses and a goatee and is 5 years older.
I kind of think the boy's character is a little bit interesting though, because he's all pissed off that he's not you.
Yeah,
He's really sad that his dad's dead, and he also takes care of a bunch of stray cats. It's kind of I kind of like that.
It's interesting that the narrative is through the sibling then more than it is through your player character.
Yeah.
Even though you're the special girl.
It's a
because you're
weird
just
one.
reacting to everything.
Yeah.
You're like in Shinji's position in the story, but you're not being Shinji at all.
No.
It's like nothing.
And I just kind of have a bit of a worry that it's never going to really touch on the idea of what it means to take these astral beings and subject them to our will, especially while you're playing a cop and you're doing stuff like, okay, you're picking up litter, but you're also arresting the graffiti artist.
Yeah, that was weird.
And you don't really have any option other than it's illegal and thus you shouldn't do it.
Yeah.
So I think the world building is exceptionally weak in it, because I don't know, like, say the drug dealers, what is the drug? Like, why are they on drugs? Is it recreational? Like, we don't know anything about the world, why someone would be on drugs and why the drug dealer would need to be captured.
Yeah, there's very little sense of, like, an internal society or anything like.
It's
and, like,
just
you go to
petty
the
crimes
slums
are bad.
It's just crime
you
bad.
You go to the slums and it's like, these are the slums, but, like, what's the actual, like, what is the, like, social situation that led to this, you know?
And that kind of, like, that disappoints me, just, like, because, again, it's Platinum and Nier happened. But I was reading some interviews, and the guy who wrote this was saying that Yoko Taro writes his stories first, his concepts first, and then the gameplay is built around that. But Astral Chain had the gameplay first, and then the narrative was built around the gameplay that happened.
Yeah, I can believe that 100%.
And I can see that, and it kind of disappoints me that you would have this kind of, like, I feel like there's more reason in Pokemon to justify the fighting with Pokemon than there is in the cop Astral Chain game to justify chaining up these creatures and fighting for them. So that's, like, just narratively, I'm, like, kind of bummed with it.
Yeah.
But, like, gameplay wise, I like how it moves. I like how slick it feels. I like the aesthetic.
And how customizable you can make everything.
Yeah. So I'm kind of a little torn on it right now. I'm hoping more of the side stuff will get me into it.
I think in the same way you were saying with Control, like, if someone said to you, hate this, fair enough. I could totally see someone hating Astral Chain. And if they did, I'd be like, yep, I get that.
I really like this game.
Yeah, no, I'm very high on it. Guys, I played River City Girls.
As did I.
I bet you guys love this.
I mean, it's alright.
I really, really love parts of it.
This feels like such a you guys game.
The aesthetic is top notch, full marks, catered to cool dudes.
I love this game so much.
Yeah.
I really... Okay, there's some caveats that I'll get to,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, there are.
I was, like, shocked at how into this game I was, and that was coming from a place of being like, I'm probably gonna like this. You know, you're playing as some cool girls. You're beating the shit out of people. That's already like 2/3 of my boxes ticked.
Kyoko and Mitsuko.
Are you more a Kyoko guy?
I'm a Kyoko kind of guy.
Oh, yeah.
Is she the one with black hair or red hair?
Kyoko's the one with the ponytail. You got the
Okay.
long ponytail. And then Mitsuko is the one with the shorts and the black hair.
That's me.
Okay.
And they are two stupid girls that like to beat the shit out of each other and everyone else around them.
Yeah.
And they're very, very stupid.
So like I really enjoy how this game plays. I think they make a kind of mistake at the start where you play the game and you have like your basic combo attack, a jumping attack, and a heavy attack, and that's it.
Yeah.
But then like the more you go through the game, you open up a lot of different moves. You can do a lot of really cool stuff. But I think generally what I just love about this game is the look and the sound of it, and even just like the weird little world.
And it's a funny world.
Yeah, and like every single screen is like there's very little copy and paste from environment to environment. Like they reuse the same citizens and stuff like that, but each new area is like really granularly crafted, where like they all have like their own shop, their own like building designs and like different vehicles around the place, and like there's so many different shopkeepers, all of which are like illustrated and voiced, and it's fucking cool.
There are some characters and their original unique sprites that stand outside that one shop,
Yeah.
and you can't interact with them because they're doing their own thing, but they're just set decoration like that, and I think that's really, really cool.
Yeah, really cool.
But then like your enemies are just like palette swaps of each other. I think there's like 9 or 10 different types of enemies as you go throughout the game.
Yeah.
That kind of, and like, you know, they've got the poison clone. They've got the punk. Who's the punk from? I don't know. Yeah, like it feels like they know what they're making in terms of side-scrolling beat 'em ups.
Totally, and it definitely feels like a game that these people have played a lot of these games and they know how to make them fun.
Yeah, because it's based on the River City Ransom games.
Yeah,
which is called The Adventures of Kunio-kun, is it?
Yeah, I think so. I know there's two characters, Ricky and Kunio, the two boyfriends. They're the stars of the River City games. Story of this is they get kidnapped and you're playing as their girlfriends trying to get them back. And I found the two girls just really funny and endearing like the entire way through.
Yeah, and it's got like these flashbacks, but they're done like it's a manga panel that's kind of zoomed in on, and they float the camera from panel to panel.
Yeah.
And the drawings and the like voiceover is so good.
So good. And I found that I was actually like playing through parts of the game and like still enjoy, like I really enjoy how this game plays. I think you can get really creative with the combos. Like I was kind of getting to the point where I was like air juggling people and then like ending it with a power bomb and then like drop kicking them out of the power bomb and all this kind of stuff. Like real, just really getting my teeth into it and like trying to optimize damage in a way that I thought was so fun. But I was a lot of the time getting through the gameplay sections because I wanted to see what would happen with the story. Like I liked all the character interactions. They have like each boss has like its own like intro animation and its own like little like dialogue back and forth, like nearly like a Metal Gear villain.
Yeah.
And then like some of the times you even find out about the boss's backstory. Like it'll go into the kind of manga panel view and it'll go through it. And like Noise's one was really good.
That was brilliant.
There's a creepy kid who knows like black magic.
Yep.
His was really good as well. And I was infinitely charmed by this game. But
it crashes.
So you messaged me, Brian. You messaged us saying that like you were having crashes. I didn't have any crashes with it the entire way through. But I got to I beat the game and then I wanted to fight the super secret final boss. And so I got to the boss and then like I fought all the way down. Like it takes a little bit because like the boss is pretty tough. And then I got to like the final stage of the boss and it crashed.
Ooh.
And I was like, that fucking sucks. But I was like, you know what? I like this game so much. I don't care. I'm just going to do it again. Did it again. It crashed again.
At the same place?
Same place.
Jesus.
So I had to fight all the way through the first stage of the boss and then get to the second. So I did that 2 more times and it crashed each time. And at that point I was like, this is bullshit. And I just watched it on YouTube and I was so pissed.
That's such an issue.
It's
so specific
huge,
as well.
You know.
Which version were you playing on?
PS4.
Okay, because we're playing the Switch version at work. We're all taking turns because we're doing co-op. But like that game is stressful in places.
It's hard.
And I got really upset and I had to like march around and calm down.
Okay.
And other people have had to step in and take over because I was being a salty
pup.
I was being a salty tortilla chip. Just Not a happy camper.
Yeah, no, there's one or two bosses where like I had to walk away and come back the next day.
Yeah, because they're just busted.
The fashion girl Hisako or Misako maybe.
Hisako or Hisabe.
Hisabe, yeah.
Yeah. She's cool.
She's amazing.
But she's a fucked up Toho boss.
Yeah, she's a bullet hell.
Yeah. What the fuck? And then the dude in the sewers who's got his fucking ground pound.
A Bobo.
Yeah,
a Bobo is he's from Double Dragon.
Yeah. Oh, I really like as well that when you're in the school, there's a bit where you go through one room and they're playing a like projector. They've got a projection on screen and it's of like a like student self-care video, but it's a Bobo is in it.
Yeah.
Telling you to take care of yourselves and practice safe sex and stuff like that.
I like all these little touches. Like there's one bit where you go into like a back alley and there's just like a wrestler in a tiger mask doing sit-ups.
Oh yeah, and there's some Josuke looking dude like watching him.
Yeah.
And then they both like have exclamation marks and they realize you're there.
Yeah, you ruined their boys' time.
And then they get up and fight you.
Yeah. Other issue I have with the game is like the whole thing about this game is like what happened to your boyfriends, like where are they gone? And they actually wrote it in such a way that I genuinely gave a shit. I was like, I can't wait to see what happens Kunio and Ricky. Like that's awesome. The ending of the game is such a letdown. Like
did they find them?
Yeah. And I don't want to say too much.
No, please don't.
No, I won't. But just the reveal of like it made those characters so much weaker, and like I love those two characters. They're so good, and the two girls. But it's like it really kind of shits on them in a way that felt really lame, and like I feel like
so it makes them the butt of the joke.
Yeah. And I feel like a big part of the appeal of this game is you're playing as these two fucking awesome girls. They love just beating the shit out of people, and they love these two boys, and they both have like their really weird personality quirks, and they're so funny. And then you get to this game, and it kind of just you get to the end of the game, it kind of just takes a dump on them,
That's so strange. Because
I wanted more from these characters. I wanted more from this world. Last boss is super cool. There's two bosses, two final bosses. The first one's amazing, and the second one is really, really good as well. There's a lot of good characters. You know those mean girls, Brian?
Yeah.
They're so good.
They're brilliant.
Yeah.
I do think one's design is way stronger than the other.
I like them both. Who do you not like?
So there's a girl with the long hair, she's fine.
Yeah.
But the girl with the like spiky pink curly hair, I think her design's fucking amazing.
Yeah, she's cool.
She's really, really cool.
Yeah.
I just love her color scheme.
Yeah. But yeah, it's
and the drawings are so good for any of the conversations.
Yeah, they're so good.
Like, and the color choices and everything. I love the shading that they have on them.
And it's kind of
got such a
how
nice
the
pop to
visuals
it.
ties into the soundtrack as well.
Yeah.
Like just the game has so much style in everything it does. Like from the color schemes to the animation to the music, it's awesome.
So when we play this, we sing along to the lyrics because the songs are so
They
good.
are really good, yeah. And I feel like the music is all music those girls would listen to. But the ending's really disappointing. But then, like, final plus side, the unlock you get for beating the ending is fucking amazing. Like, it's really, really cool. So, I definitely recommend it. It comes with its problems, and it bums me out because I feel like when I'm trying to pick, like, my favorite games of this year, this is going to be one of them, but I am definitely going to think of those crashes, like those repeatable crashes. So, yeah.
It prevented you from finishing the game.
Brian.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell us about Super Kirby Clash?
Super Kirby Clash. Just real quick. This was part of the Nintendo Direct that we're going to be talking about in a bit.
Mm-hmm.
This is a free to start Kirby game on the Switch. It is a mobile game on the Switch with Kirby assets from Star Allies. I wanted to check it out. I knew what it was going to be. It's the least worst possible version of a free to start game.
The least worst possible.
Yeah, like you need to jump and move the control stick around. It's not a mobile game where you're just tapping.
Right.
Yeah.
Like you need to play and have skill. And what you do is you play as a Kirby. and you've 4 different types of build of a Kirby. One is like a sword Kirby, one is like a healer Kirby, one is like a magic Kirby, and it's just you attack a boss and you chip away at their HP, and that's all. And you bring them up a level, and I think there's like you can get up to level 10, and that's the whole game. Don't think there's a story, don't think there's anything else. It's a game designed for people with addictive personalities. They have an apple system, but you can also spend real money to get more apples. That's where the mobile game part comes in. It's really gross to see a Kirby game used like this.
Sounds really gross.
What does the apples buy?
Just gets you up higher level, I think.
Okay.
There's no way to quit out of the game. Like, you need to actually like close the software. There's no way to go back to the start menu. Like, the game is designed to keep you playing and give you short-term rewards while...
So if you press the home button, it won't...
Oh, no. If you press the home button, you could close the software. But there's no way to, like, you know, go back to a start menu.
Okay.
I'm kind of shocked that Nintendo would let something like this happen on their home console.
Yeah. Like, Fire Emblem Heroes is a very addictive game. I had to delete that off my phone because I could see myself going down a rabbit hole with it.
Yeah.
And, like, that is the same thing where you can spend real money to go up faster levels-wise. And, like, that's a thing you associate with mobile games, and that's where it belongs. And so it was weird to see it on a Switch, especially with a game like Kirby that is specifically for children. And the whole thing with Kirby is that it's for all ages. Like, Kirby games have always been for like 3+, but like this game isn't for 3-year-olds. Like, this game is for like people who are a bit older that understand real money.
Yeah, totally.
And so it's weird to have a Kirby game, like a character like Kirby who's so universal and so all ages, used for something that is for that kind of has a more mature insidious.
Yep.
And like, and I know Kirby has, you know, like weird Cthulhu lore and shit like that, but that is in the
that's
story.
for the people who want to go find it.
Yeah, like I think it's kind of scummy to use Kirby like this.
That sucks.
They done my boy bad.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that, Bryan.
So I played it and then deleted it. I just need to know, but like, there's way worse mobile games out there. I'd rather this game didn't exist.
Sure.
And it will be part of our game of the year, and it will have a number. Yeah. That's it.
Guys, what's we move into our Quicktime Events? Okay, we got some news.
Yeah, we do. We got loads of news.
Yeah, got a fair bit of news. Bryan, why don't you give us a little rundown with this Nintendo Direct?
Okay, we had a Nintendo Direct earlier this month, the September Nintendo Direct.
It was a good one.
It was a very good one.
Yeah.
They had a lot of momentum. It started off with confirming a leak that had already come out that Overwatch was announced for Switch. It's out in October. People use the Switch as a Fortnite machine. There'll be people who will be using it as an Overwatch machine.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, even as someone who, you know, I don't play much Overwatch at all anymore, like, I'm not going to get it unless it goes on sale, but like, I would like... That's like a Binding of Isaac or like a Street Fighter 5 to me, where it's like, I'll always jump in for like a little game of Overwatch.
Yeah, and there's a couple of like Blizzard games like Diablo and stuff like that already on Switch. So yeah, like it makes sense.
Yeah.
Deadly Premonition got announced.
Yeah.
As a port on the Switch, and then they were like, also a sequel is out next year, and Swery is directing it. And Swery is a very open guy, but he's been keeping a secret this whole time.
He's been keeping a lot of secrets because, like, he started White Owls. He did his Indiegogo, then his Kickstarter.
He went and like trained to be a monk for a little while.
Yeah, he's a Buddhist priest now.
Nice.
So like, so we've been all waiting for the good life, but even last year he was just like, I have another game. It's JJ McAfield. You know, like he's been storing up little secret games.
Yeah,
and like even JJ McAfield for like. You know, I had my problems with that game. That was a fucking cool game.
Yeah, no, Swery writes fun narratives.
Yeah, and like his gameplay isn't always enjoyable, but it's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But never in my wildest dreams, I've never thought the words Deadly Premonition 2 in my head ever
on Nintendo Switch.
What the fuck?
It's insane. Like, I don't think anyone ever thought that was ever going to happen. Even the idea of it being the original ported to the Switch, that just seems
no
like...
way.
Yeah, because the original Deadly Premonition was developed as an original Xbox
Yeah.
exclusive, went way off schedule and ended up coming out in the 360 as a very kind of janky ass special experiment, yeah, with squirrels that have monkey noises.
Yep.
And like I remember the reviews for Deadly Premonition were so much fun because you go to one magazine and it would be a 2 out of 10, and you go to another and it'd be a 9 out of 10. And I feel like after playing that game, I agree with them all.
Yeah, its appeal, like if it's something, again, if you're into that vibe, that Twin Peakish vibe, you'll get a lot out of it.
There was something so earnest about it as well, though, you know, like
no NPC is wasted. Like
No.
everyone has a story, and
everyone
you can
has
talk
side
to everyone.
missions, and like the joy of that game was just that town and figuring out these weird fucking people. And there's like an old man who runs the town wearing like a weird gold mask. The diner sells like cereal sandwiches. Like, it was so weird.
And who's the guy he talks to?
Zach.
But you're Zach.
Mm.
Well, for a while, he is looking at the camera. Like, he breaks the fourth wall and says Zach, doesn't he?
He's Zach, but also you're Zach, but also Zach's a person.
We're all Zach.
Zach's a concept.
But he's Agent York as well.
Zach changes shape a lot.
Yeah. And York's like stories about previous cases and his conversations with Zach about movies. Like, I remember I found out about Killer Tomatoes from that game. The Killer Tomatoes from Outer Space.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You know, like when Cooper talks to his recorder, Diane? Is it Diane?
Yeah,
From
Diane.
Twin Peaks? That's Zach. You know, it has that vibe to it.
Yeah.
But swear he's never seen Twin Peaks.
Never.
But Pot Lady is just Log Lady. But that's just a coincidence.
The metal and wood carry very different physical properties.
I guess so. Yeah.
I didn't love every minute I played of Deadly Premonition, but man, I look back on that game fondly.
There is a bit in it where it hasn't aged particularly well in terms of transphobia
It wasn't great then.
and homophobia. No, it was always awful.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's particularly egregious now. And you're like, oh, this is such a thing that used to be in video games quite commonly. Like, it was a very common trope. And that's still there when you play it. So it's good to be aware of that. It feels like Swery is trying to correct his past mistakes, especially with something like JJ Macfield.
I think we've kind of talked about this before, but sometimes like I feel like some people like making media are curious to experiment in genre, and a lot of the time in gender. Like they that stuff interests them, and they like to find ways to kind of like play around with it. And a lot of their early stuff, when they're first working on that, it can be kind of bad. Like Yu Yu Hakusho has a really bad depiction of like gender fluid character. But then like in Hunter x Hunter, it's like there's a much better depiction of just someone who's trans. And I think it's kind of similar with Swery, where it's like this kind of subject obviously seems to kind of fascinate him a little bit. And then he does stuff in JJ Macfield. It's like cool. So yeah, but yeah, that bit's not. Yeah, there's a real bad trans representation thing going on in that game.
I still think it's worth playing. Like, I think it's like,
It's just a product of its time.
Yeah, I mean, you should know it's there.
yeah, you should definitely know it's there. But it's like, it's one of these things where I think a lot of other games could learn about a lot from what it does narratively and storytelling wise. And it kind of, I think it's one of the examples of doing that really well.
Yeah.
Then they finished off back to the Nintendo Direct. They finished off then with Super Smash Brothers.
Sans is in Smash. Holy shit.
Me Gunner has a Sans outfit.
Well, you see, the thing is, one of his special attacks transforms, which implies that it's more than an outfit, implies that it's actually Sans, which is really cool.
It's a mask that any Me can wear, but the Me Gunner has a pajama outfit.
Sans Smash.
He has a little skeleton.
You can make Sans fight Banjo-Kazooie.
You can.
Yep.
And the fans at Nintendo New York store, they always get to watch it, and the reaction videos are fucking amazing. They go insane.
Well, they should. Sans is in Smash. That's incredible.
He is an 80-cent skin for Me Gunner, John. When you select it, it goes Me Gunner. you can, on the online, you can download a very good build that someone has made of Sans, so that when you pick it, sometimes, depending on how you set it up, it says Sans. But yeah, Sans is in Smash, John.
Sans is in Smash. Okay, I'm really glad that we just got that.
Have you gotten any of the DLC for Smash?
No.
Okay, we will be playing it very soon.
Yeah, no. And I will have your character.
Who else is in Smash?
Banjo-Kazooie is in Smash, and Terry Bogard was announced for Smash.
Yeah, awesome.
And the way they did it was super well done.
Oh, yeah, that was one of the best reveals.
They kind of go through the Nintendo console history and then jump over to a competitor, the SNK Neo Geo, and they do the introduction to King of Fighters with a letter. And they're all trying to catch it. And I thought for a second, Geese is going to catch it because he's in Tekken. But no, he doesn't.
No.
And he does the fall.
And it's like, yeah, oh, that's so good. He tries to catch it and he falls out the window.
And who's the guy with the chain between his legs that does the laugh?
Iori.
Yeah, so Iori doesn't do it, but then he does his weird, like, I'm laughing, but I'm dying inside.
Yeah. Guys, Iori's pretty rad.
He's brilliant.
Yeah.
I'd love to do his laugh, but it's too loud.
Yeah, it's very loud.
But maybe we should do it sometime in the car park.
Sure. Terry Bogard was like the obvious SNK pick, but he's the right one. He's fucking amazing. I love Terry Bogard so much.
Yeah, it's cool because a lot of people don't know who he is, so they're like, is it buffed up Pokemon trainer?
Yeah.
What is he? And it's like, no, he's SNK's Ryu. Like, that's...
Yeah.
He's the everyman fighter from that series, and it makes complete sense for him to be in the game.
And they put a Goemon skin in there as well.
Yeah, they did. They then said that Banjo-Kazooie were playable right after the Direct, so I stayed up until 1 a.m. playing Smash as Banjo-Kazooie, and they're super good to play as. It's my favorite DLC character they've ever done.
I'm glad. Really, really glad.
They're busted as fuck. They need to be patched. Like, he's way overpowered. He's kind of like Donkey Kong, where he can slam you into the ground and you get embedded in the ground.
Oh.
But that doesn't make sense for a medium weight character.
Yeah.
And he has some things where, like, his throw is just the exact same animation as Mario's, but you need to be a weirdo to notice that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But that's fairly normal. Like there's some stuff where it's like super unique animation, and then other stuff where it's like, oh, but maybe that's just meant to be like that, because but he is a Mario character. Like he was made in response to Mario, so it's cool to have that as a detail. I don't know, I'm just being very hyper specific about my favorite guy.
There was some other cool stuff, but in general, I thought it was a really good Direct.
Yeah.
It
Devil
was.
May Cry 2, huh? Coming to the Switch.
That's
Y'all
cool.
get to play that.
Yeah, you get to play it.
Yeah, enjoy Niamh.
I will.
What's Devil May Cry 2? Like, what's the whole thing about that?
I don't know. It's the most controversial opinion. I'm known for my terrible opinions, but seemingly the worst opinion I've ever had is that it's not terrible. Not even that it's good, that it's not terrible.
People came at you on Twitter for that.
Yeah, they were just like,
I
that's
thought-
just a shit opinion.
I thought the third one was the one people were upset about.
Oh no, the third
people
one
love
loved
the third one.
But
Yeah.
in the third one, he's like younger and he's like...
Yeah, because they didn't like the second one where he's older.
The
But
second,
now he's like way older.
it's not like people actually kind of think the narrative of the second one's well, they don't really like the story, but they like the girl character that was introduced. She was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But gameplay wise, like it's not really a character action game.
No, it's just a hack and slash.
Like
Okay.
if you want to see why people don't like it, Crobcat has a video where he just basically just like runs around the enemies and they can't hit him. There's some enemies in it that if you stand still, the way their animations work, they can't hit you.
But it's Dante's best outfit. This version of Dante, we have like a sexy, sleek vampire goth Dante, and they decided to retcon that into the horrible, like, pizza-loving Dante, who is now just this loser old man.
I don't think they retconned it. I think he's much older in Devil May Cry 4 or 5.
No, in 3. Yeah, he is in 4, but they, like, retcon 2 with his 3 version. He's older in 2. 2 is not
When did they retcon 2?
canonical anymore, I think. Or maybe it comes after 4? I don't know where 2 comes. But I think it goes 1-3 now.
I thought 3 was the first one, narratively.
3 is the first one narratively.
So is it 3, 1?
3, 1.
4 and 5?
I think it's 3-1-4-2. Those two could be switched.
Okay.
Those two, but 5 is the last one.
But then there's that game called DMC that has nothing to do with anything.
That's
No, that's
alternate
not.
universe.
Yeah. Anyway,
And
we could have
and people also hate that.
had sexy, sleek vampire Dante, but we got stupid, gross cowboy Dante.
But he's way older. He's had to stop being a vampire at some point.
You like cowboys.
I don't like Dante's version of cowboy.
Well, that's because it's really problematic.
It's really problematic and stinky.
It is like
I just-
you can
He looks
smell
stinky.
it.
I
Yeah,
really
he
wish
does.
I hadn't watched that documentary and seen that cutscene on the same day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, bad timing all around.
But yeah, Devil May Cry 2, Niamh. Listen, I'm happy for you, buddy.
Probably won't play it.
No,
No, but someone,
I wouldn't advise it.
yeah. It'll
Do you know
get
they
a couple
don't know who
downloads.
directed Devil May Cry 2?
How is no one fessing up?
The director wished to be anonymous and remained anonymous.
Oh dear, because that was when Capcom had all these ideas. They weren't going to happen, and Devil May Cry 2 would have been made around that time.
Yeah, and Devil May Cry 3 was basically an apology for Devil May Cry 2.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Because the Devil May Cry 3, I've seen gameplay of that, and he's like surfing on enemies.
Yeah.
That's rad.
That's a great game. It's really, really good.
And he's like quipping a whole bunch. But
Yeah,
Oh,
he
yeah.
doesn't quip in 2. He's very serious.
Yeah, because he's sad in 2. Okay.
Mhm.
That's all I need to know. I'm never going to play these games. I just like to ask some questions.
That's all right. That's all
and
right.
That's fine.
Let's move on to our next story. PlayStation UK says the X button is called cross.
Okay, we're going back to the Catholic stuff. Let's do this. The cross.
Do you know if you buy a PlayStation 4 in Ireland, there's a little Jesus on the X?
There is.
Mhm.
There's a whole blessing you have to go through.
Yep.
They give you a thing of holy water.
Yeah. The release cycle of consoles is heavily regulated by the church here. It's unfortunate.
The default language option is in Irish, Oscuelga, and
Yeah.
it takes
And then Latin.
and you need to download a patch to play your PlayStation 4.
Yeah, you have to get a
in
letter
English
from your local parish to grant you permission to do
to
that.
make sure
as
you're
well.
bilingual. Yeah. And we all live in thatched cottages, and we just got the internet last week,
Yeah,
and we go leprechaun hunting every Sunday.
absolutely.
So I guess PlayStation UK tweeted out that the X button is actually the cross button, and people debated this fact.
What was their actual tweet?
It was like they were talking about the face buttons.
Or did they actually just come out and declare this,
No.
or was it a side?
They were referring to the face buttons on the DualShock, and they described the bottom button as cross.
I mean, that's just madness.
So people looked at it and went, I guess that's the cross button, not the X button, because we've been not looking at it diagonally all along.
PlayStation UK tweeted out, triangle, circle, cross, square. If cross is called X in brackets, it's not. Then what are you calling circle? And this was in response to someone saying that anyone who calls X cross is a cop.
They are, though.
Okay. And so square is called box.
I think that's
No,
a
it's
purely
called square.
Irish thing that maybe Irish people do.
I think I have cousins who have referred to it as box.
But and triangle is triangle, and circle is circle.
It's
Yeah.
butthole.
Butthole. Okay.
Yeah, butthole.
And then what's triangle?
It's like that Brian Fury combo. It's like
Pizza.
XX butthole.
Okay, so we got cross, box, pizza, butthole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the only
X!
you do
It's
it.
X!
No, you
X pizza butthole.
Yeah. No. You cross, you get your box, you take out the pizza, and then later on it comes out your butthole.
It makes
I don't-
perfect
I don't-
sense.
I don't
And-
like this
and then you
anymore.
rinse
and repeat.
I'm done. I can't do this anymore.
And then you pray for your sins. You're back down across.
Then I guess, sort of sidestepping back to Nintendo Direct, I guess they did their last Pokemon Sword and Shield. Although they're still doing it, but I guess like the game's out in November, but it always becomes a point of contention whenever Pokemon gets talked about because people are pissed that Pokemon is in the state it is.
Well, I
according
think
to them.
this. I feel like there was a lot of like positivity around Sun and Moon coming out.
Yeah,
I think this like it started with the kind of national deck stuff, and there's been a lot of negativity around this one.
Yeah, so this is the kind of recurring argument about the reuse of animation. Who put this down?
I did.
You did?
How do you guys feel about this?
Okay.
I think I saw that tweet about the guy comparing the animation, and I'm kind of like, who cares? It's hundreds and hundreds of Pokemon with very general animations. Like, they run around in a circle and they jump. Like, how much different do you want that jump to be?
They're
like,
four-legged animals. There's only so much you can do with them.
Like, what more animation do you really want to put into those little limited cycles anyway? Like, they're already limited.
Yeah. This is a heavy discussion with some people at work, and I have no interest in getting this game. Are you guys going to get it?
I don't know. I always say I'm not going to get Pokemon, and then I buy it.
I'm really, really, really burnt out in modern Pokemon.
Yeah.
Like, I really like Detective Pikachu, but like, if I was to play Pokemon right now, I'd play Pokemon Yellow or Gold and Silver. But I've got some thoughts on this, and like, I'm totally cool with them reusing the animation library that they have right now. What I would like for them to do is just also add to that library, please.
It seems like they have done. Like, I saw the video for Surfetched.
Yeah,
they
they're introducing new character designs.
So the new Pokemon, their idle animations in battles are super cool because they'll hop around. They have a lot of energy and they have a lot of their personality in their idle animations. I find with some of the original Pokemon, they stand there and breathe their chest in and out, and they don't kind of have like a flare or like a skip and a hop, which they did in Pokemon Stadium on Nintendo 64.
Yeah, because there was actually some beautiful animation in Pokemon Stadium.
Some other things I'd like is if a character is to shoot a beam, when they shoot a beam currently, it just comes out of their chest.
Or like a amorphous space in front of them.
Yeah, and I think at this point, and Game Freak print money. Like, the Pokemon Company is one of the wealthiest companies ever.
It's the most profitable merchandise of all time.
Yeah, and I do think they're kind of riding on their coattails a bit in terms of like tiny little details and flourishes that they could put in because the National Dex isn't in it. Part of that was that they said that they could focus more on the smaller details, and I'd like to see these smaller details.
It's because there's so many characters. Like, those smaller details are going to be there, but you're not going to notice them among the thousand, like, you know, the hundreds of standard.
But the thousand
animation
aren't in it, and they have.
Well, just the hundreds then, like all the Eevees and their evolutions. Like, you know, like there's going to be so much like basic reuse that you're probably going to miss out on the cool teapot thing, or, you know, you won't notice it.
Yeah, like, I kind of, when this kind of controversy kicked off, it was like with the National Dex stuff. And like, we've talked about that stuff before. I don't give a shit if every Pokemon is in it. Like, I really couldn't care at all.
As long as the new ones are good.
Yeah, totally. But like, my problem with this game is I do think it looks lazy, because it's not just a case of like reusing animations. They're reusing like the exact same character models as well.
As well, when a Pokemon gets hit, it could be a tackle or it could be a hyper beam, but they always have that flinch reaction. I kind of wish there was a different level of reactions for different hits.
And I get the thing of being like, oh, there's so many of them, but this is Pokemon. This isn't like an indie series. This is a fucking multinational billion-dollar merchandising machine. It's like, I feel like more resources should be being put into it. And so when I see people getting mad about the animation reuse, I'm kind of glad, and I'm kind of surprised at how many people I've seen kind of defend it as well, because it's like, Nintendo don't need defending. Like,
well, like, I mean, there is other stuff
this is Game Freak in a Pokemon Go. This isn't.
Yeah, we don't know like what the working conditions are for the staff. Like, will this like? Do they need to do it? Would that mean crunch?
Okay,
like,
but like,
we don't know anything about how it's being made.
I've seen that argument, and
know?
I think it's really weak, because I think like this isn't obviously a criticism of the staff. Mm-hmm. Like, there should, if that's the case, I think more staff should be brought on board. Like, obviously, I don't think anyone should have to crunch for anything. You know, I think people should be allowed to live their lives, but like, suggesting that like they should be making this game properly and not just reusing shit from the last generation, that's not, crunch isn't the only way around that. Like, I think that's up for the developers of this game, the publishers of this game, to front the money.
But they're clearly not doing that.
They should be.
yeah, you're probably right. They probably should be. Like, Pokemon is this huge thing, but they're clearly not. And
No,
I
it's
think,
like
at this stage, it's kind of like, well, now it's up to you as the consumer. Do you buy it now or do you don't? Because compiling all the animations and being like, look, they're so lazy.
I guess for me, like,
I'm not in the franchise. I don't expect much from it anyway. But like, I
for
don't
me,
know.
like, a lot of the joy of buying a new Pokemon game when I was little was just seeing the new sprites, because they'd always do something different, and especially like in those later sprite generations when they started getting really creative with the animation.
But the new ones do. The new Pokemon are different.
No, I mean, like, so say Gengar was your favorite Pokemon, you'd buy Blue and you'd see Gengar and like it'd be like, oh, that's a cool Gengar or whatever, and then, well, actually Gengar, and that's really weird. Then you'd buy Silver and like you'd see it would be a redrawn Gengar, and it'd be entirely different, and it would have like new weird like things. And then like as you got up in the generations, they started animating and they'd have these weird little like dances and flourishes, and some of them were like genuine, like they were very limited animation, but it was cool and they were new for every game. If I get a Vaporeon in like Sword and Shield, it's going to be the same Vaporeon from X and Y. Tokyo Game Show, we got some trailers out of this.
We did. We got some gameplay demos, we got some trailers, and I guess the two games we're going to focus on are the Final Fantasy VII Remake and Death Stranding.
And Project Resistance.
What's
Project
this?
Resistance?
That's the Resident Evil.
Oh,
Yeah. Okay. How about we do Project Resistance first, just because it was the quickest.
Okay, so we were kind of theorizing what that could be, and we kind of thought last time it was like a 4-person co-op game. It kind of is, but it's one of those asymmetric games where...
So when they introduced that element of it, I like perked right up. I was like, oh, this is cool.
And it's not just that, like, say the one person plays Mr. X, they do, but they actually play a controller at a console where they can place enemies within the map.
And
so
it's like a card system?
Yeah.
Like you get, like, it's nearly like a card game?
So you can kind of keep your stronger enemies or your weaker enemies. You see, and you're watching everyone through CCTV cameras. You see maybe two people go into one room and you're like, okay, I'm going to put a surprise in there for them. And it's like, you're basically the game maker. And I think it's just really cool that you are physically the game maker plotting this, and your interface is so different from the characters who are actually just shooting their way through it. It's just a very different vibe, and then you can take control of Mr. X.
It's cool to see them do something really different with that franchise.
Yeah, it's like it's using the Ori the engine again, so it looks nice.
Yep,
the 2019 Capcom engine.
I think it'll be a fun one, and it'll be interesting to see how they price this, because a lot of games like this are usually free to pay with like purchases in it.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see if this will come out as a €60 full price game, or if they'll try and kind of do it a little cheaper to get people
I think
in.
it'd be a good move to do it a little cheaper.
Yeah.
Because like, especially when like you're kind of gonna want to play this with friends.
Yeah, because like stuff like Friday the 13th or like Dead by Daylight, they're wildly successful and free. And Evolve, which is kind of that same type of gameplay thing, but didn't have the game maker stuff.
Yeah,
went
Hunter
free.
or Hunted.
Yeah. So like there is there's a way people play these games and the way how they get into that ecosystem. So it'll be interesting to see if they price it like that.
Yeah. And then there was the Final Fantasy VII trailer.
Yeah, this was a great trailer.
Yeah, it was.
This actually piqued my interest in Final Fantasy VII.
Really?
Like, I'm not buying this game. I think Rebecca will be buying it and I'll be watching her playing it. But, like, she was sold on it from this trailer, because the other ones were kind of doubtful or kind of you're unsure of things, but this is... So the game takes place in Midgar only, I guess. But they're inserting characters that don't appear in Midgar earlier on into the game and packing it with way more detail and extra missions, I guess.
And new characters. This is the mullet dude on the bike.
Ooh. Did you like this, John?
Sure.
John's fucking stoked. Day one purchase.
Yeah, I have no idea what to expect from this game. I'm excited. It is going to be a day one purchase for me.
I like that one bit where Cloud got picked up and thrown at air.
Yeah.
That was funny.
I think I'd be way more excited for this game if I had not played 15.
Yeah.
But I've also, the stuff I've seen from this game makes it look way better than 15.
And you can play it in a classical version as well, or using the original gameplay system.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Who
That's
are the
cool, yeah.
characters from later in the game they're introducing? You don't know?
Well, like
The
Sephiroth isn't in Midgar.
No, I guess he's not.
Yeah.
But he's shown
Presence
off.
is, yeah.
Yeah,
but
his presence is, but like they
The
talk
Turks,
about
the
him.
Turks are in Midgar.
Yeah, the Turks are in it a bit. Yeah, but like Sephiroth isn't in Midgar. Like he's not shown then at all. The first time you see Sephiroth is in a flashback after Midgar.
Yeah, see, I kind of like that.
Yeah, but see now they're showing him off.
Yeah.
So they're fleshing out characters that get introduced later on. Yeah, like
It kind of feels like the Evangelion, the 1.0s. Like it kind of feels like that version for Final Fantasy VII, where
just shove more Kaoru in there.
See, that's
where there's just like there's new characters. There's kind of like it's the characters you love, but it's nearly an alternate retelling rather than a remake. You
Yeah.
know, and it's like imagine if this all happened, but this other character was here as well. Whoa, weird.
What would happen?
See, like, I love how sparingly Sephiroth is used in 7, and like the idea of kind of just seeing him like Cloud seeing him in hallucinations right from the start is like.
Do you remember in Advent Children when there was like a bunch of Sephiroths? They're gonna give the people. What they want.
Hey, I like Advent Children. Advent Children's a fun movie. Like, it's not Final Fantasy VII to me, but it's fun.
It's just a bunch of stuff happening.
Yeah, it's cool. Cat Sith is in it for like 4 seconds.
Jesus. Tifa look cool.
We've seen Tifa before, haven't we?
Yeah, but now she's working out.
Yeah, she's.
Oh
yeah,
that bit. That
She was
bit
training.
Yeah.
That looks like a fun little mini game.
Yeah. Seeing Don Corleone's mansion. That was cool.
Yeah, I really liked the dialogue, and I had a sense of humor. It wasn't taking itself super seriously, which is my least favorite thing about Final Fantasy is how fucking like it's bad poetry.
You should play 13.
I no wonder Niamh likes it.
13's great.
Just sonnets for days.
I liked seeing Twitter explode over Reno.
Who?
Oh,
Reno.
Yeah.
Reno. Oh, yeah.
His very open shirt. Where was Elena in that trailer? That's
Oh
what I
man,
want
I
to know.
can't wait to see Elena.
It's like they took her out just because they needed more time to work on Reno's titty window.
It was a good titty window though.
It was
It was very waxy.
the shop was open for all to see.
Yeah, there's the business coming and going. Maybe you know that bit in Final Fantasy VII where Elena like punches you and you can step out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
And never step out of the way.
Of course you don't. You're into that.
No, shut up.
Yeah, you are.
John would love.
No, please,
For a
please,
woman
let's just
to-
emails. So before we start emails real quick here, I guess I just want to say, we like to take a wide variety of emails on this podcast, but I guess recently we've been kind of talking about like some of the emails we get, and like we've said this before on the podcast, but there really is like a certain level that we really can't go past and that we're really not comfortable going past, especially like when you get talking about like very serious depression and kind of like mental health stuff. There's only so much we feel comfortable kind of saying about that stuff to people we don't know. And if sometimes we do get emails like that, and it's not that we don't care, but it's really not our place to say something like that. So if
We can only draw from our own personal experiences.
yeah, and there's definitely, it gets to a level where like we just don't have the training to help, and if you are feeling that way, you're much better off seeking like professional help as opposed to a video game podcast. On with the emails.
Electronic mail. Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan are emailing each other. Sorry, the year is 1998. I gotta get my shit right.
You gotta get your shit right.
Tom Hanks wants to send you an email.
Okay.
How does he email you?
He emails Meg Ryan at askletsfightaboss@gmail.com.
Okay, so guys, It's askletsfightaboss@gmail.com. I really want all you listeners to send us 1998 emails, please, as if we are in You've Got Metal.
And you have to address them to Meg Ryan.
Yeah, not from Tom Hanks.
And if you address it to anyone different than Meg Ryan, we will not read them.
Okay, and this is only for the period that this episode is out. If you keep the joke going on beyond that, it's not funny anymore. Jokes on the internet have a 2-week window for them to fizzle and die, and you gotta catch that feeling. And it is pronounced You've Got Metal.
Brian, why don't you pick out a little email there?
Okay, I saw a good one that we had before, and I was super bummed we didn't get to answer it because I forgot to. But this one is from Dimitri. And it says, I'll keep it short. I recently picked up the Akira art book and I found it fantastic. I remember you all saying you collect art books, and I was wondering, if you could have an art book made for you of something that doesn't have one, what would you pick? He goes with the Mother series.
Oh, that'd be a good one.
The closest thing you can get are the very well illustrated guidebooks done by Fangamer.
I have them and they're so beautiful.
Yeah, they're super fantastic. Yeah. So I had an answer for this. For me, it'd be the Wario Land series, because the enemy designs and level designs in that are absolutely fantastic, and a lot of the instruction artwork is super cool. I have a lot of the strategy guides for those games just because you get to see the artwork more blown up and in color, and it's got some kind of, and the ones done by Ape, who do a lot of cool Nintendo guidebooks, they have a lot of concept art in them as well, which is super cool because you never get to see concept art of old video games.
Yeah, I love a lot of the old Mega Man art, like concept art. It's so simple, but it's so charming.
Yeah, it is.
I'm not sure if this exists. I think it might be the kind of thing where it exists and it's very rare but very expensive. I'd love a Silent Hill 2 art book or a Silent Hill 3 art book, just to like all those sketches and stuff, because they're so beautiful. Like, they're amazing. What about you, Niamh? Excuse me.
I would love, in the vein of, like, you know, the Frozen art book or any of those.
So done as a coffee table art book.
Yeah, coffee table artwork is any of the old Final Fantasies, because they really limited what renders got out there. I think there was kind of finished concept and one render image for a lot of characters. So with Final Fantasy 10, 8, even 7 and 6, I'd love to see more of the exploratory drawings, or even how they got to a final character design.
Yeah, because like they have the really famous drawings from, what's the guy's name?
Amino,
yeah. But like how we got from Amino's initial sketches to the final designs, like, surely there's a lot of work.
Yeah, because his drawings are like really light,
watercolory, flowy.
Yeah, into these like rough polygonal.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. There's always like it always happens when I get a Final Fantasy guide or a Final Fantasy art book, except for like more modern stuff for like 14. It's like I feel like there's so many steps missing. And I want to see them.
Yeah, totally.
I want to see the like environmental drawings. I want to see the early sketches of a shoe puff. Like, I want to see the flowers and stuff. I want it to get granular, and I think Final Fantasy Worlds have a lot of that in it, but we never get to see it.
Yeah, it's cool that art books are more and more a thing every year. Like, I think Astral Chain Collector's Edition came with an art book, and like it has like finished rendered illustrations. But it also has the concept in there too. It's got like what ifs and mistakes.
That art book is really cool. I had to look through it. It's really nice.
Because I got the ones for the Fire Emblem games, but they're just like promo art.
Yeah, here's a render.
I really don't like that.
Yeah, that sucks.
Mm-hmm.
I've pre-ordered the Link's Awakening collector's edition that comes in an art book, and fingers crossed that it's got some weird drawings in there. I just like seeing the weird messed up stuff.
Niamh, do you have one? Or I can pick one out for you.
You can go.
Can I answer this one about martial arts?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't see why not.
This one is from Cabe Fib. I want to ask, because of John's knowledge on martial arts, how does someone go about descending the rabbit holes of fighting styles, not necessarily training in them, but just learning about them, their origins and technicalities and so on, because I am very interested. So I got real into martial arts from Tekken tag tournaments for the PlayStation 2. And like Tekken is the kind of game where each character has like a super specific martial art. Like they're all based off like actual fighting styles, except like some of the kind of more fancy characters, like Ogre and stuff like that. But I got really into just finding out about like these characters and like their country of origin and like figuring out where they were from. And eventually I eventually started playing as Horang because I just liked I thought like Taekwondo was such a cool fighting style. And I eventually ended up just like taking that up because I thought he was rad. And so actually like fighting games is a really fun way to learn about it. I'd say nowadays, like with Wikipedia and like YouTube, there's loads of different rabbit holes you could go down if you wanted to kind of learn different stuff. Later on in life, I started like playing as more like grappler characters and then like getting more into like grappler martial arts. So it's always been kind of like really video game related to me, but it's fun. An old man tried to start a fight with me yesterday.
Why?
I was walking down, I was coming back from town, and this was like along the quays.
Didn't like the cut of you?
I don't think he did but he was kind of drunk as well.
Okay.
And he sort of stepped in front of my bicycle and he goes, "You don't know if you're fucking coming or going with that." And I was like,
he's right.
I was like, what? And then he got, and like, I think because I said like, what? He got like really, really mad. And he told me that if I didn't get on my bike and cycle away, he'd thump the head off me.
And what did you do? Did you cycle away?
I did not.
Did you fight the old man?
You fought an old man.
No, I didn't.
Again.
I didn't fight him.
John's always doing this.
I never get into fights.
John, you get into so many fights.
I leaned my bicycle against the wall and I informed him in coarser language than this that if he wanted to get knocked out, I could help him with that. And he said, "No, I'm fine," and walked away.
He was all bark and no bite.
He fucking was. And like, I don't think I'm tough, but I knew I was tougher than this guy. So like, it wasn't hard or anything. But yeah, it was really weird. It was the kind of thing where like it happened and it's over, and then I was like, what?
Did you have a lot of like adrenaline
afterwards? So fucking much.
That's probably the worst part then.
Yeah, I did, because like I got back to like my apartment and I was telling Michelle about it, and like I was a little shook. I was like, fuck, that was weird.
Yeah.
Because like I don't want to beat up an old man.
Yeah, but like you had like a bit of a fight or flight instinct kicked into you, and
yeah,
it takes a while to get that out.
Yeah, it does. It was really weird. Thank you for the email.
All right, we got one more.
Okay, my one's from Tommy, because I think about this all the time. Running out of time to try things. Sometimes I grow anxious, whoops, my phone died, at the unbearable truth that I will die before I can try everything I want to. I sometimes am downright paralyzed by the choice of what I should watch or do next. I'm aware that this is really blown up a way to think of it, but my time is limited as anyone else. It's a little sad to think of how many things could change my life that'll be long past tense before I even get the chance to try them. Does this ever cross your mind? Do you have any easy mantra or method when so many shows, movies, and games seem so enticingly and easy at your fingertips? Tommy, I think about this all the time.
It's scary.
Yeah.
You get to a point where you're down one kind of path in life and you're like, man, I can't go reskill or do this thing or do that thing. Like, this is it. The greatest comfort I've found is believing in alternate universes and believing there's alternate versions of me.
I was so with you for like a second there, Niamh.
Every single thing I've ever wanted to do. So there's like one version of me who's a chef, there's another version of me who's a dog trainer, and they're just existing and they're doing the thing I want to do. But this version of me, the one exists now, is the animator on a podcast, and I just have to make my fucking peace with it. And
hey, this podcast's cool.
This is one of the good timelines.
Yeah, I know. I like this timeline. I think the idea is like accept the timeline you're in and make the best of it. But like maybe if you want that little bit of like, it's not so bad because it is kind of sad.
Niamh, there's a way worse timeline where you're married to a GA player.
Yeah, or a farmer.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Wow, that got specific.
Look,
I've had those proposals.
she left it
She
behind
has.
her.
They're really good stories.
I've been offered land. I don't want it. there's way worse timelines where you're living on a farm and you're married a man and the farm is waterlogged and you just don't know why you're here.
And everyone's a gobshite.
I feel like we've gotten so far away from this question.
No, this is about consuming media.
Yeah, but you have to imagine that there's another you somewhere who's doing the other thing you really wish you could do.
Niamh, this is such an insane...
I find it gives me peace in this question.
Okay, like...
In terms of picking what you want to pick,
What about you, Bryan?
whatever's easiest.
I guess this is like the intimidating library scenario where you're in a library and you want to read a book and you don't know where to start and you don't want to squander your time. And it's that worry is eating into your time automatically and you should have already been reading a book.
Yeah.
And it's that fear of wasting your time, I guess, is what Tommy is trying to describe. And I think it's okay to read stuff and consume media that isn't good, and it works its way as a stepping stone to the stuff you do like. And
I think it can be kind of informative.
Yeah, it can be informative. Like I think it's good that you
But
watch.
how do you pick it? That's the question.
I find
Go you go.
Yeah,
Go with your gut.
I think it picks you where like you build a taste, you know what you like and don't like, and all of a sudden you find a piece of media that just clicks with you on all levels.
I also feel like a lot of the times when it's something you really love, you're nearly drawn to it really like inexplicably. I remember like the first time I ever saw anything Yu Yu Hakusho related was in a video game magazine in Spain, and it was an article that was like a fifth of a page, and it just had 2 screenshots, and one of them was Hiei and one of them was of Yusuke. And I just like, this was of a Super Nintendo game or something, and I just looked at these screens and I was like, what is this? Like, what is this thing? Like, and I just like completely fascinated with it.
So the aesthetic just appealed to you instantly.
And so then later on in life, I found like, just by happenstance, I downloaded a Japanese SNES ROM of Yu Yu Hakusho. And then like I went through every character and all their special moves and was so like, oh my god, like what is happening? And then later I found the anime. And so I feel like I was always going to find Yu Yu Hakusho, you know, always. But
you're like beckoned to it.
yeah, kinda. But I also think like, you know, if you have media you love, which I'm sure you do, it's like you've already found stuff, and that's great. You know, that's really cool.
Sometimes there's like, you have to put discipline on it in a way. Like, say if you are finding it hard to make time for the things you like, it's good to carve out those hours somewhere and be like, every Wednesday I'm going to read a comic book because I've stopped reading comics and I really want to get back into it.
I have to be like that with anime. I have to be like, I am going to carve out time and I'm going to watch this series.
And that doesn't sound fun or spontaneous, but sometimes it's the only way to get things done. Like, I'm going to watch my serious film this Saturday, and then I'll pick one from the block of serious films and not the block of garbage I have. You know? I'll watch Mother.
I'm really like that, where I have to watch a bad film to watch a good movie. So I watched that new Chucky movie. Yeah. But now to counter that, I have to watch like, you know, a seminal film.
You know what you're saying about like the fear of, I guess, not committing enough of yourself to it. For a long time, I was like, nah, just if you enjoy it, and just watch it. But then like, I can remember being 20 hours into Red Dead and being like, I think I'm done. And the only reason I played more of it is because I had like a massive swath of free time, and I just spent a lot of it playing that game. And now that's one of my favorite games ever, you know? And it's scary to me that I might have given up with it and not seen where that story went.
Yeah, it's like a weird one because you don't know what you're passing by could be your favorite thing ever, you know?
Yeah. Well, like, I always kind of get that feeling if I'm on, like, I've been to holidays in Japan twice, and I go on shopping sprees and I find weird collector's items. But like, I always get that weird feeling where I'm like, I just happened to show up on the day that they had that for sale. And like, if I was in this shop a week ago, they could have had something completely different that would have elicited a different response to a different thing.
It's really interesting you get that with shopping.
Yeah.
And having been on trips with you a bunch of times, I can totally see that.
Where like, you find the thing and you weren't looking for it, but when you find it, you pick it up and you're like, this needs to go in my collection. And
then, like,
it's got a
But
story
then
behind it.
the week before that you went and it was a different item, you might have had a different reason for picking up a different item.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
There's no.
But you
And-
see, I think there's a kind
You'll
of
make
And so
stuff
it's
fit
kind of like
in.
that with media as well.
I
It's
think
just I
there's
need
a
to
kind of peace in that though, because
Yeah,
it's like,
there is.
listen, what's gonna be is gonna be, and it's like I can't stress too much about it.
You're like wishful thinking and
that's
daydreaming
what
at
I'm
that
saying.
point.
Commit
Yeah.
to this reality.
It's gone full circle.
I guess I do agree with you, Niamh.
Just people talking strangely until we sort of understand it. And that's how emails work.
That's how emails work.
Tommy, you broke us,
Yeah.
but rebuilt us as better people.
Tommy, if you really can't pick, write down the names of the movies you want to watch, put them into a hat and pull one out, and then that's it. And if you have this gut response of, oh, I don't want to watch that, then don't watch it and pull out a second one and then watch that one.
Yes.
That's as good a solution as any.
Mm-hmm.
I have a checkout list. Do you guys have that? I have like a big list of like when I hear of something cool, and then I'm like, you know what? I want to read a comic right now, and I'll go to it. Found a pretty good comic recently.
Yeah, I've started
Yeah.
keeping lists of movies. Like, I have a free time, what'll I watch?
Yeah, I've got a short list and a long list for a lot of those kind of things. And there's kind of movies that you watch while you fold laundry, but then there's movies where you're like, I need to turn off all the lights and I need to give this my full attention.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, you just sort of categorize media you want to look forward to that way, or at least that's how I do it.
I think doing this video or doing this podcast and even some video stuff like the favorite things videos, I think it's made me more adventurous with stuff because I need to be like, oh shit, I need stuff to talk about, and I like that. That's cool.
Yeah, like I guess with us every week we have to have at least one new thing.
Yeah, and whenever I'm on the fence with a game, I can always convince myself of being like, we can talk about it on the podcast.
Yeah,
Sometimes I watch things and I'm like, that was too horseshit to even mention. Like, I watched A Simple Favor today on Netflix.
oh my god, that film
Isn't
is
that
so
bad?
lame.
It's so bad.
It truly was a simple favorite. I can't
Oh.
believe. Jesus Christ.
It's like housewife fan fiction of
Shut-
of Gone Girl.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, no.
It's Gone Girl meets Desperate Housewives, and it's even got that weird sugar-coated sprinkly music.
Mm.
And it's got like fake YouTube in it, and it's the worst fake YouTube.
And there's a lesbian kiss between Blake Lively and what's the other girl's name?
Anna Kendrick.
Anna Kendrick.
What?
And they forever queerbait. They've been doing it
Oh,
all throughout
yeah.
Pitch Perfect, and they did it in this one again. Blake Lively just kisses her, and then she's just like, oh, what? And then she's like, what? Was that a big deal? Never mentioned, never brought up, not a thing. Like, it's so weird. Anyway, that was a shit movie, and I didn't want to talk about it, but here
Tommy,
I am
I hope
talking
that
about
helps.
it.
Yeah. Don't watch that new Chucky remake, or do, because it's done bad.
And don't watch A Simple Favor.
Yeah, it's done bad. Do watch it. That's it for emails.
Patreon shoutouts.
We have a Patreon. It exists, and sometimes we feel guilty
Hey,
about it.
we have a lot of cool people giving us money, and
Yeah.
we super appreciate it. And just as a side note, met some really lovely Let's Fight a Boss fans in Germany on a recent con, and they were really lovely, and just want to say thank you. And I think some of them were patrons as well, and just we appreciate it, guys.
We
That's
got
awesome.
some cute art presents.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
It was very nice, and it was addressed to the Queens and John, which I think is very important.
That is very important. I
Yeah,
think about that.
Enjoy your time.
I think about the Queens every day.
Me too.
And that
I
was
honestly
from-
do.
Yeah. Thanks, John.
Yeah.
Karen and Amanda.
Yeah.
Thank you, Karen and Amanda.
Thank you for the lovely artwork.
Yeah. You know what? We have a Patreon. You can support us, but just going to give a shout out to the patrons that are already supporting us. Thank you so much.
Hey, you guys are all right.
You guys are so great.
I love going on the Discord. You're so cool.
I would chop off John's fingers for you.
I would chop off John's nose and eat it on Live Leak.
Let's just keep moving. Don't think about it.
Anyway, we've got this whole thing called Patreon shoutouts. I'm sure you've never heard of it, but if you're on the Discord, you can type a thing and we'll say it.
Niamh, why don't you take this first one from Takio JMB?
John will always be the Dark Prince of anime YouTube. Sorry.
That's fair.
I feel like he's apologizing.
No, there's no need to read into what he's
Yeah,
saying.
he's like, I've got a bad take, but I'm going to say it.
Yeah, I'm just going to say it.
Hobartistic says,
Fantastic.
Hobartastic.
Yeah.
Okay. It's my void and I'll scream into it if I want to.
Yeah.
I'll scream it into it. Yeah, that's it.
Right on. Then this is from Zero Awakening, and I think this kind of fits it. Goodbye from the world's
Strongest
video game podcast.
Thank you, Zero Awakening. That was fun.
Yeah, that was a nice little experiment. And that's that. That's the shameless bit done.
Yeah.
That wasn't too bad.
But hey, now we get to give something to the audience with our loot drop.
Here you go. Here's a YouTube link. Hope you like it. Niamh, if you want to go first?
Yeah, my channel that I'm dropping is Renegade Cut. I recommended his Freddy video before about the kind of homoeroticism in Nightmare on Elm Street 2.
2, yeah, second one.
He has just consistently put out some great videos. There's one about the whole Sony Spider-Man kerfuffle.
That's a brilliant video. I love the one as well on like macho men and the homosexuality
In 80s movies.
Yeah.
It's like, it's really
The hunks.
good exploration of themes, subtext, and semiotics. And I said before, he always kind of gives a reading list of the kind of material he's looking at for framing his arguments. So it's just like, it's a really good channel for media literacy, and he does it in a really fun way. And he puts a video out nearly every week. I don't know how he does it.
Yeah, he's so hardworking.
There's some channels like that, and I'm just like, how?
I don't know. He has it down to a T, and they're all brilliant.
They're long videos as well.
Yeah,
they are. And like, they're informative. Like, I always come out being like, yeah, you know?
Yeah, it's...
The recent one he put out was supernatural horror, and kind of how it supports Christian ideals and Catholic ideals through its use of like faith as the thing that can save the day, and how the skeptic is always wrong. Like, just some really like fun videos exploring. There's always seems to be an intersection of like sexuality and maybe like religious thinking, and just kind of how they're explored and stuff. And it's a really good channel.
Cool. I got one from Thor High Heels, and it's a video on the PC-98, which is like a Japan only really weird console and it's in this really strange in-between generation where it's not like, it's more powerful than like a 16-bit SNES, and it's less powerful than like a PlayStation 3. Like, so it's not able to do like 3D at all, really. Like, it kind of can, but not really. But what it does specialize in is like high density pixel art. And so what a lot of this ended up getting used as is like visual novels and PC and like kind of hentai games.
Yeah, so that you could have more detailed and rewarding artwork, I guess.
I guess so, yeah. But hentai stuff aside, like, some of the artwork is so beautiful. Like, it's amazing. And this is just a little video kind of taking you through some games for it, and I really enjoyed it. And afterwards I went down like a rabbit hole of looking at like there's Tumblr blogs dedicated to just this like weird dystopian cyberpunky like pixel art, and it's amazing. And like I thought it was deadly, so yeah, check it out.
And then mine is a YouTube channel called Hoops and Dino Man, and he is a dinosaur enthusiast on YouTube, and particularly stop motion dinosaurs and vintage and modern artwork of dinosaurs. So he has a video on the allure of vintage dinosaur artwork and the allure of modern dinosaur artwork, and just the differences between the two, and the arguments for and against how dinosaurs were portrayed in the first half of the 20th century and how they're portrayed now in the latter half of the 20th century up to the 21st century.
That sounds deadly.
And how people kind of drew dinosaurs based on the shapes of their skeletons, but animals don't look like their skeletons. They have meat all around them and muscle and fat. And so the modern interpretations of dinosaurs and how they were these kind of giant lizards and closer to dragons, but in more actuality would have been more closer to ostriches and vultures. And they'd have had feathers, and they'd have had jowls and giblets and bits and pieces. And they were kind of portrayed as ferocious, but now they might be more kind of nesting and peaceful animals. And it's just a cool argument. Well, it's not really an argument. It's just like exploring both of these.
Yeah.
And bringing up the points for and against each one. And liking both of them can be a thing. And it's cool to just appreciate dinosaurs.
Agreed.
And I just really like this channel. He is making his thing and he is loving it. And that's what I love about YouTube. But not today. John.
No.
What's better?
No.
Beyblade?
Okay.
Or Monster Rancher?
Beyblade.
Are you sure?
Fucking easy.
Are you sure?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's Beyblade.
John, I would like for you...
Okay, I think we should end this podcast. This has been fine. I don't like where it's going.
Late 90s, early 2000 anime that was imported to the West. I want you to rank a whole bunch of them.
Late 90s, early 2000s.
Anime that was brought over to the West.
Oh.
And like the real niche shit.
Okay, so you had a weird thing happening there where DVDs were starting to get popular, and so they were bringing over all the fucking edgy shit. So you had like Elfen Lied, you had Ikki Tusen, you had Tenyo Tenge.
Goodbye, everyone.